Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Cobalt Wins League for Grand Finals of Division 2. This is going to be Emery's Esports taking on AEC Clarity. I am Sandbag, and as per usual, the old guard returns. My partner in crime, Zathos. How are we doing, lad?
Man, I'm having a wonderful time, and thank you, Logic, for inviting us to I guess, have the best time of our lives with the Cobalt Wins League Grand Final. For today, with Emery's Esports versus EEC Clarity, two teams who have come from kind of the depths of Division 1, especially Clarity, working their way up in just 2 seasons from winning the Grand Finals in Division 2 to now being in the Grand Finals for Division 1. So that's a massive storyline to talk about. However, their competition is going to be very tough, especially Emery's Esports, a team which is very used to change, always having players coming in and out. And talking about new players coming in, their support has been changed up a little bit for this game. So we are going to be having Felix the Warden instead of Hyperpop Ezreal.
Felix the Warden going to be slotting it. Like you said, a bit of a revolving door on this squad. They are making full use of their 10-man roster. People in, people out. Making sure, the opposition can't ever have a read on your team if you don't have a read on your team. That seems to be the strategy here for Emery's. But as we are going to be setting ourselves up for this first game, is there anyone that you really want to highlight in particular on either of these sides to kick things off?
Well, when we talk about players, I do have to talk about probably both of the junglers, because in the most recent patch, if you've been seeing these win rates, about a 55% win rate on the J4, so that's either going to be a pick or ban for both of these junglers, especially for Hattoon, who has been playing a lot of those heavy, aggressive early junglers, who loves to get into the enemy's team faces, and he's been really facilitating everything Clarity wants to do, because remember, they only came 4th place in the regular season, and now they're already in the Grand Finals, and this is really on the back of him finding those amazing plays. However, he may be a good player himself. We also do need to talk about the jungle of I Am King, somebody who has been such a consistent, stable player for their team, who has always been able to farm up, and it's really going to be about, can the side of Aftermath be able to find that early game lead, or is Emery's able to get to that late game and allow the team to just thrive with the amount of late game pressure they usually have?
Trying to just weather that early storm and find your way through it, or do they get absolutely blown off the rift as we launch ourselves into the very first champion select? You said Jarvan, high priority. Anything else that we're expecting to get immediately knocked away here from these two jungles?
Well, for both the junglers, I've seen a little bit of Viego getting played, a little bit of Lilia, which is very strange. And talking about strange picks, both these top laners aren't afraid of picking out some weird champions. Most importantly, if you look at Taladu, he picked Shyvana top lane in their last series. So I won't be able to really read what those two players are going to do, but we can see exactly what we were saying about two junglers already getting banned away for both teams, really understanding where the stable points of both these teams are.
Yep, always the engine of the early games, and there, for those of you wondering, there might be a reason why I was deliberately leading our way towards this jungle pool, as 3 for 3, shooting 100%. It is Kha'Zix, Viego, and J4, first set of bans. The Ivern to follow it up. Do you think we got a chance at a full 6, Seth?
It's hard to say, because half of me wants to be like, yes, it would be kind of funny. However, there are still many AD carries that are up that are very strong in the recent meta. Most importantly, Xayah, and then you also have something like Kai'Sa. But why am I even saying that? Of course, these champions are going to be going for the junglers. We are going to get the Kindred and Sandbag. If this is the series all about the junglers, banning away 6 junglers, we're really going to have to delve deep into their champion pool. Luckily for both of these junglers, they do have plenty of picks to come out. Nocturne and Vi still available for Hattoon on Clarity's side, while on the opposite side, we have stuff like Lilia, things like the Viego, which did get banned away, but got the Lilia, got many other picks for them. And do you think they're going to first pick it? No, instead going to pick up the safe AD carry of Xayah. And this is a champion the recent meta just hasn't been able to get taken away out of the hand of Clarity. They love having a little bit more of a defensive bot side, so they can be a lot more aggressive in this mid jungle duo where they do like to get all up in your face.
Absolutely, trying to find the denial tools. The 80 carry with the premium denial tool of that Featherstorm of the Zaya, and on the other side, trying to pick those solo lanes out quite early. Cassante and Syndra. Bit of a deviation from your normal form of, you pick your bot lane, you pick your jungle, you cover yourself with some bans. Emery's esports solo lane slamming down the solos. That is not quite a gauntlet throw considering they are some stable champions, but very heavily indicates, like you said, we're not playing for solos. We are playing towards bot. We are playing towards jungle. Solos, just do whatever you can to team fight with us later on.
Sandbag, the Zing Zhao. This is a champion I haven't seen in quite a while. This champion loves to go in, like I keep talking about. This early game pressure that Hattoon has been so famous for is going to be prominently on show. And of course, getting paired with Renekton, this top lane is going to be super pressure from the side one. The side of Emery's, they have picked up the jungler of the Volley Bear. So we haven't seen very often itself. Going to be okay into the Zing Zhao in the jungle, able to stun him up, able to walk out. However, the way I'm seeing it, I'm loving this side of Aftermath, the way that they are just constantly going in, and going in. However, no mid laners have been picked up for them, so they do need to make sure to get one of them. I would love something aggressive as well. Something they have been a big fan of has been the Xerath, which is able to help engage with them, especially with that big ultimate. When they are able to stun someone up, just have the ultimate start popping them out from long range, of course, as well against Syndra as well. But instead, both of these teams seem to think that supports are maybe the biggest issue, because I would say both teams have engaged, just doesn't have that consistent engage. That's why the Alistar and the Rakan will get banned away. Thresh is a popular champion for both teams. Maybe that'll be getting taken out, but instead it is going to be the Xerath.
Yep, good call out on that one. Something that has been finding its presence and really starting to find its feet. It is the I don't have to dive with you, but I can still contribute style of champion. Something along the lines of that Jhin, that Xerath, that artillery mage. We're seeing Ziggs pop up a lot, and this will be
Come
an
on, give it to
interesting
us.
pick. I would
Sandbag,
love
I
to
want
see
it.
this. Maybe a
Don't.
little bit less hype. As there's still a chance they could
So
flip.
that's exciting.
Playing with our hearts a little bit. For the record,
We'll
shout
take
outs
it.
to AEC. Thresh, we will absolutely take here, locking in that Chain Warden. I am loving AEC just chaining the Teemo hovers. Something about just hovering a champion that means something to you will never get old for me.
Yeah, no, Clarity side, always like to have a bit of a giggle, a bit of a laugh. Actually one of the more popular teams for actual fan bases, because of just so many people coming in and out. Everybody seems to enjoy how they're going, and we talked about they need an AP mid. Does the job, I guess. I'm not the biggest fan of it, however, because when you look at the side of AC, what do they want to do? They want to go to the enemy team, and you can't pick Bard in front of me. This just isn't fair. No, instead it will be the Cassiopeia. Gonna have that great miasma to stop a lot of the dashing around that maybe the Thresh wants to do to get in. Stops the Volley Bear from being as fast. And this is going to be an interesting pick if the Nyla gets brought in. I'm actually a massive fan of it in this situation, mostly because of the low range the side of Clarity does have, where they do have to go into you. With this late game, Nyla's able to heal up just so much, and with a lot of CC from a team, would be a great possibility, but instead they are going to pick up the Twitch. Going to play something a little bit safer, but this does mean their bot lane is going to be very weak in this early game, so there's going to be plenty of pressure from side of Clarity to abuse down towards the bot side. And to be honest, early game everywhere should be a winning side from the side of Clarity, so we're going to have to see if Hattoon is able to get stuff done in this early game, because the later this game goes, the harder it is going to get, especially with Scatter the Weak coming out from Last Wish that can get you just completely out the zone. Of course, Thresh as well, a great disengaged champion, then allows Twitch to be this massive, potent, real carry at the end of this. But is Twitch ever able to get there when he is constantly going to get knocked up by a Renekton, by a Nautilus, even by a Zing Zhao? There's just so many different ways to try and stop him. I'm interested to see if Emery's is able to keep him safe in these team fights.
Yeah, Felix the Warden is going to have his work cut out for him, keeping the rat standing and firing to his heart's content. But on the other thing, we're talking about bot lane, we're talking about the solo lanes getting picked up early. You said that priority seems to be favoring the entirety of this AEC squad with Clarity. What does that leave the Volibear left to do? If he is meant to be this early game, proactive, tower diving, level 6 bear, and he's kind of just going to get boxed into his own jungle by a Xin plus winning solos, are you a stun bot at the end of the day towards the end here, or what are your inroads as this Volibear, or is this just checkmate and draft?
Well, it's definitely going to be difficult for sure. However, when you don't have priority in your lanes, they are going to be very much pushed up, which does allow ganking to be a lot easier. When we look at all solo lanes, except for top lane, there is CC scattered a week in the mid lane. Also got the Thresh Hook in the bot lane that can be followed up by the Volibear stun, or vice versa. So there are plenty of opportunities for him to find these early ganks. I'm just very concerned because when I'm looking at these team comps, I don't believe that the side of Emrees is really going to be winning out on most of these fights, except for maybe mid lane, where I do believe Volibear will be tanky enough to be able to really soak up Cassiopeia's damage before before 2 items. With the Zings out, is going to be winning the one-on-ones. There are possibilities to try and go for the enemy laners. This could be very difficult, like we said before. So it is going to be about Clarity trying to push their leads. And the way they could do this is focusing around this bot side. We talked about how Twitch is the main vocal point of the Emrees team, especially towards this late game. If you start putting him behind and make it where he isn't going to be a champion just yet, that is going to be perfect for them to get these early drakes and get themselves such a lead that even when Twitch is online, you're so far ahead, he can't do anything.
Absolutely, trying to get as far ahead of the curve as possible and don't let him back in the door. Once he gets his foot in, he will slam that wide open himself. So we're talking about the individual matchups. I'm going to be honest with you, top lane's not the most exciting thing in the world. No resource.
There's a reason we don't talk about it.
Top lane is currently going to be resourceless champion beating on a tank. One is going to be taxed by their HP, the other by their mana pool. It's not exactly the most fascinating.
Can I reenact it for you? Okay.
All right, go for it.
Renekton versus Cassante.
All right.
oh, sorry, I'm awake. Hello, guys. Oh, what's up? Yeah,
okay.
Nothing.
I will say, there is some movement in this matchup. Gone are the days of Scion versus Orange just beating each over the head with 15 damage.
I will agree, it is better. It's
but
better
it is not going to be the most exciting thing in the world. We are going to be jumping into a short break to get ourselves lined up, synced up, and ready to go for Game 1. Don't go anywhere, and we will see you guys right after the break. And welcome back to Summoner's Rift for Game 1 of AEC taking on Emery's Esports. We got ourselves an actual grown-up 5-point start from these two squads here. So, Zath, this is your moment to set the stage, set the stakes, and kind of get us warmed up for this one.
Quickly, it's not a 5-point. We see Cassandre in the top lane isn't in the position he's meant to be. However, the ward from the Volley Bear does mean that it's going to be completely safe. And you said about no shenanigans, we do actually see Hatun and Talatu, two names very similar towards each other, have placed a ward into this red side. So I'm going to be able to spot out where the jungle is going to start. But both these teams are going to probably have quite a quiet early game until level 3, where Hatun may look for something bot lane. Talking about looking, great hook.
Connect here, throwing out the early exhaust. Twitch is going to be putting the shots in, chunking down the summoner spells on Alvance Pro. Half HP and no ghost in exchange for the exhaust. Bot lane showing its teeth early on here.
Yeah, that's actually a big win for them. There's actually a possibility for the Volley Bear to maybe do a level 2 gank. Might be a little bit overconfidence. However, if he does go for the speed up, there's definitely a chance there. As we can actually see the Nautilus and the Zyre in the bot lane hiding in this bush, maybe looking for a level 1 play. They do have a decent possibility, especially with Twitch being so weak in this early game. But remember, not fully healed up. Zyre, we're going to have to see if they're able to do this.
Death Sentence yet again connecting onto the Nautilus. 2 for 2, and health bars have been chunked early on. Getting Zaya's pot and Ghost and some follow-up. Felix the Warden starting to show some respect on the other side here.
Yeah, because when you have Zyre in the bot lane, she needs to get that level 2 before she does have that stun available. And because of that, they're actually able to find something.
Forward, they can connect yet another, the flay in on the level 2 play. Instant flash in, and Twitch picks up first blood. Red side bot, 3 for 3, drop Zaya where she stands.
Emery's are going to be super happy with that play and how it went off, because remember, Twitch is your main carry.
But looking for the flash in, able to connect the E. Wind becomes lightning as Xin Zhao's looking to turn this around, but Cassiopeia can't contribute. Able to deny it here as Hatun saves his mid laner and gets the flash in the meantime.
Yeah, getting the flash out of him, but this overall isn't too bad for the Cassiopeia. Does have the teleport to get back, no flash available for this Volley Bear. Means that his ganks for the next 5 minutes are going to be a lot less potent than before. However, most importantly, is able to make the Cassiopeia get chunked out, so does have to maybe go for the reset. But if Hatun's going to gank again, they might be able to find a kill here.
Looking for another, the wind becomes lightning, connects despite the flash, but no pop-up here as Xin Zhao gets the summoner spell and saves his own yet again.
Yeah, but look at the wave in the mid lane, because it got fully pushed in. The flash was expended from Last Wish, but has a teleport if he wants to get back. Didn't actually need to use it. Could have just happily booked to the wave before the minion wave actually got pushed in. But still, it's seeming like Emery's, even though I was talking about they don't have the strongest lanes, they're somehow finding the ways to work. Bot lane, of course, with the one play poking out the Zyre before the fight even starts, was able to get them the win. We talked about how Volley Bear and this Syndra, that's the only possibility for that 2v2.
Yes,
as another great
lands. Felix is finding these on cooldown, forcing Zaya back once more. The Dark Passage slays Alvance Pro, moving our way into the river here. A flash, but the auto goes off. I am king. Volibear knocks him down. Hatun falls, giving chase with the E. It is continued pressure here. A couple of tower shots will dissuade the bear. But we're talking about Emery's not having early 3 kills on the board already.
Yeah, I want to apologize to Emery's fan. Apparently, Felix the Warden is knowing what's up on this champion. Able to, I feel like he has aimbot on. Can someone check his computer? Not being able to miss a hook just yet. And if we quickly take a look at the gold graph, we can see exactly what happens. But instead, we will be taking a replay to see Felix, or is this the mid lane play? We'll just have to find out. And yeah, it's going to be the mid lane play of the Volley Bear coming in. No, instead. Okay, it's going to be the bot play. Just take a look at the Thresh's hook. It's beautiful. Just in between. Sandbag, I need to play like this as a support.
Absolutely. Using the extent of that lollipop to weave it behind those range creeps. And Felix the Warden already in this one starting to show why he's grabbing this one up early. Solo lanes picked early, giving him his counter pick, and he is paying it back with interest in the bot lane.
Now, Sandbag, when you think of confidence, there's many different ways you could see this, but I may not even be able to talk, as Felix is going to be looking mid. Hasn't been spotted out on a ward. Hextech flashing.
He's going to be trying to find yet another of these. That was a deep read here from Felix. Trying to go for the real mind games that unfortunately not connecting. But still showing presence in mid. The Volibear here to follow up the scatter. Gets the flash out of cast. Miasma forcing him to walk away from his lantern. But still looking to continue this forwards. Hex flash over the wall yet again. And this Thresh is relentless.
Yeah, great little dodge coming out from Twitch in the bot lane. Is going to mean he's going to be completely safe here. Wave pushing away from him, and if there's an opportunity from Emrys to push this out, they can just start this dragon, and that's exactly what they are going to be doing. But no, instead, Thresh.
Hex Flash, collision course with enemy jungle here as the 3 versus 3 is going to be kicking off. Death Sentence going wide this time. The exhaust dropped on the Xin as he falls, turning their attention on the bot lane. Twitch still firing into this Nautilus. The E will not pop the knot, but Sterling is still limping his way to safety after that.
Yeah, on the back of this, are going to be able to pick up the first dragon in the game, which will be the Infernal Soul. However, not pushing out this bot wave does mean the Xayah is able to pick it up completely for free, as a lot of damage heading top. Both still have ultimate available. Both need to be careful here.
Absolutely. Connecting a couple of those Q3s, the Antofo strikes starting to work their way through the Croc. And with the 6s in hand, maybe there could be something, especially with Xin on his way, but instead it's a flash Q. Thresh is on point! He can do no wrong in this bot lane as Xayah dies for her 3rd time in 7 minutes.
Well, Xayah's died 3 times. This Twitch has got 3 kills to his name, and he's going to be so happy with how this game is going. He's going to use that ultimate to push out this lane as fast as possible. And with that reset, is very close to that first item. May even have it. He does have 1,000 gold into his pocket, which is just slightly underneath where his needs, as I'm King is constantly around this mid lane hunting. However, because the wave is going to be pushing into the Syndra, she won't be able to do any follow-up. So instead, she is going to be just farming out this wave as much as possible, as we do see Thresh roaming up with the Rift Tail spawning in around about 30 seconds.
Yeah, credit to Fuzzmaniac. While there is a huge set of winning plays here for Emrys, this Cassiopeia doing a good job to weather the storm. 2 visits from the bear, 1 from Felix the Warden, as now he sets his sights top. Q connecting once more, the ultimate and the flay expended for the displacement, trying to turn it around with the Dominus, but he will not find it. Last auto from the Warden picks that one up. Twitch is left to set sail back into this river, but Thresh is running the rift right now.
And this is a massive issue with
Flash from the Nautilus immediately jumping onto this Twitch. He is left to his own devices, but the Thresh will send his way back away. The TP to cover him means that Last Wish will get their rat out alive. And yet again, Clarity comes up on empty-handed in this one.
Yeah, but overall, Clarity still coming out with a good play. Understanding that Thresh roams up for this Rift Outs, then you know Twitch is all alone. Go for the tower dive, as it seems like they're going to be diving mid. Thresh just can't miss.
Another Death Sentence connects. Felix the Warden sets him up. Last Wish knocks him down. And Syndra is able to be the benefactor of this one. Bot lane continues to get hammered away, but with the rat retaining his shutdown, he's still happy to give up creeps for the map pressure. Reinforcements are en route here as Hatun kicks Thresh over the wall, stopping the lantern. The rest will connect on the way in. Volibear's last chance as he dives in, but the Ignite picks him up. Shut down over to Sterling as they get something on the board at last here for Clarity.
Yeah, overconfidence coming out from the side of Aegis, as they thought that they could go for more. However, they went to top, then they got Rift Held, went to mid lane, went for a gank. By the time they went to bot, yes, they had ultimates available. However, didn't go for those resets, so didn't have too much damage as Fuzzmaniac, able to do quite a bit. Is that a kill here?
Pouring
No.
the damage in, gets the flash from Last Wish. I don't think the poison's quite enough. It will not finish the job, but still, mid lane starting to become a bright spot here for this blue side.
Yeah, when you allow this Cassiopeia to start opening up, especially with Lost Chapter available, the amount of mana she has, she isn't going to be running out, allowing her to just constantly poke you down. But I quickly want to talk about what happened in the bot lane. And the biggest issue that we're seeing from the side of Emery's is they want to go for these big fights all around the map, but Twitch already has a lead of 3-0, and now that they're playing around opposite sides of the map, even though he has a lead, he isn't able to push that. So they need to start focusing again around this bot lane, use the Rift Herald here, and start getting your Twitch further ahead instead of going on opposite sides of the map. And that's one problem I see with a lot of teams when they find a lead, is they try and make leads everywhere instead of facilitating it in one place.
Yeah, it's the whole concept of win conditions, right? You even touched on this in the Champion Select. Getting Oku ahead is nice, don't get me wrong, but I don't think it'll end this. They're looking for a dive, though. Bot lane connecting, yet another hook onto Nautilus this time, though. The E-pop finish him off with the rat-a-tat, as True Emperor is able to pick up his 4th of the game. Cassiopeia late to the party, meaning she cannot impact the play by the time it dissolves. And once more, Thresh is setting sights on these casters, not able to connect. Both hooks do go wide, but that move speed you talked about, Cass landing the Q is going to try and give chase into Fog. The second will land. Shelly summon up the mid lane. Action across the map. They get the cash in. They turn their sights on Zayn, who flashes under the tower. Ultimate unleashed as the bear teams up with his mid and picks up yet another here in this mid lane.
Yeah, because of Hatum dying there is going to be no possibility to take the dragon from the side of Clarity. So instead, they are just going to be able to turtle up. And it constantly feels like when enemies go for a play, they go for a play all over the map and they're still somehow winning, even if they do have themselves a person disadvantage. This really comes down to the gold lead they already have. Accumulated 5k at 12 minutes. And we thought this was going to be a close game, but it really feels like Emery's just running away with this.
Emery's from the jump at level 1, like you touched on, able to get an advantageous trade onto Xayah, follow that up with a nice pair of hooks to get the kill, and this snowball is starting to roll. It's just kind of feeling like there are 2 supports on the side of this red team. The one that's roaming and the one that's there to cover the rat and save his life.
Not again.
And I've seen this one before. Hex Flash in, immediately getting the ultimate out of the Xayah, but the feathers rip through both of them. The DPS check as the marksmen go blow for blow, but one of them are 5-0. Twitch picks up another, and that is 10 down. The E to finish it off and sweeten the deal. True Emperor and Felix the Warden are wreaking havoc, looking for something back as Clarity, Phosmaniac, Flash ult. But yet again, Last Wish lives, and they get nothing again here in this mid lane.
And I feel like that's really the story from the side of Clarity, is they use everything, well, really the way you're meant to use it in the perfect conditions. However, just so far behind, not able to get themselves the kill, especially in that mid lane. Last Wish, I think 3-4 times this game, has been just on a blinking health bar, not able to finish off that fight. And even in the bot lane, Twitch should have died. But when you're 6-0, you can do literally anything you want. Having that first item completed, even though Xayah bursted him with everything she has, just doesn't have the damage. Luckily, now that she does have first item completed, if they are able to find a fight like that again, they should be able to kill off the Twitch. And if they're able to get that 600 gold down on Xayah, there is a possibility to come back into this game.
Yeah, that is currently the one thing that you're looking at on this blue side, is can we get this away from the Emperor and trying to shut down not only the bounty, not only the shutdown, but also 10 of those seal stacks. Keep those out of his hands, because like you said, Xayah hit everything. Every feather, all of her ult, all of her pull-through damage, and still lived on a significant chunk of HP, no less, as True Emperor. He's probably at 300 or so to his name. So you just don't have the gas right now, and now Hatum must run for the hills. Krug is able to body block the Q, but now it's getting a little bit dicey in this jungle. 3 versus 3 en route is Last Wish. Death Sentence lands on the Nautilus, pulling him in, scattering him to the winds, as now they have to try and make their exit. Volibear is able to unstoppable his way on out. Fresh in a dicey situation if they find the CC, but they will not do so. And 4 versus 3, they walk their way to safety.
Yes, that's going to be a 1-for-0. Sterling being getting taken out. Avalanche having to use that Feather Storm. And it's just not fair. Twitch could just go Perma Invis, being 6-0. He walks into your face, and you just have to use everything you can to try and escape. Luckily, she still has Flash available, so it's going to be alive. But does have to go for the reset because Sterling's heading towards the top side. So this should easily be first tower over towards the Twitch in the bot lane, getting him an even bigger lead.
Absolutely. It's like you talked about, you want to try and get him to extend his lead. A lead is all well and good, but you got to try and turn it into something. And with both supports roaming up here, I expect to see a scuffle around the Shelly.
Yeah, priority over on Okus. They can't even try and contest this, even though they know Twitch is towards the bot side. It doesn't matter. You're just too far behind as a team, and it's just going from bad to worse. Because even though their late game is going to be decently okay, with a Twitch this far ahead, it's not even going to look too good for you, especially with these Drakes stacking against you. So it's going to be around about 3 minutes time until the next dragon has been spawned. And talking about objectives, the Drift Herald is just getting stolen away, and I don't think there's anything this side of Aftermath can do.
I would not encourage this advance here, Sterling. Just have to give this up. Hatun is going to be looking, poking his nose around, finding his way onto the Twitch as the Dominus has been popped. Death Sentence connecting onto this Cassiopeia. The Bear is under fire in the middle of 4 people. They finish him off, meaning that we're going to give the chase down on the right-hand side. Head bonk from the Xin Zhao as he's trying to find the Thresh. It is Dominus giving chase to the Syndra, but Twitch is still left to his own devices, following the way back in. A scatter to find the displacement, exhausting the combo from the Xayah, trying to live as best she possibly can. The mid will do so as Oku dunks down. They slay 4 on the side of the blue team, and despite the eye going the other way, they are happy with the results of that one.
Last wish. Buy a lottery ticket of how many times you have survived on a 1 HP as True Emperor. You need to be careful here.
He does have damage, but is it going to be enough to burn it in time? It will do so. He's making it look easy with the build he's got at his fingertips as Phosmaniac goes down.
9-0 to his name, another tower, but Sterling.
Flash in, Nautilus picks up the Twitch. However, with his reign suddenly cut short, is that worth to give it over to Nautilus here?
I mean, you're happy to kill him, but it isn't going to be worth 4 years. I think we are going to be having a replay pretty soon of that last play. We do also have Drake spawn in next minute or so. But yeah, we can just see exactly how powerful this Twitch is in this one replay fight. Because, look, he's just free-firing in the backline, just having 0 cares in the world. Able to go in, kills her team with just the bleed damage, and now he's in a little bit of danger. Of course, Last Wish surviving on smidges of HP, but it just feels like no one ever wants to go for him. Finally, we try and see a slice and dice, but just one auto attack, he's dead, walks forwards, just fearing up, and then he gets to auto attack again. And it just feels like this side of Clarity are constantly trying to find him, but just aren't able to get there. And that's the big issue with their comp is, yes, you do have Nautilus find that engage, but if he doesn't find it, who else in your team is going to start these fights off the way you want?
Yeah, it is a sticky situation that they find themselves in. Sterling, yeah, kind of looping all the way back around here, though. If we're kind of focusing in on this support, he is now given a position where he can find engages with a little bit more courage, picking up, I believe it was 1k gold, roughly. I think he hit that 700 gold bonus, as this is a dangerous TP here from Last Wish, but is able to slip to safety. Sterling picking up that shutdown, and Twitch still has 200 of his own, I think speaks volumes as to just how far the rat had climbed.
So you know how the rat was hard to kill before? For some reason they weren't able to get anything because of how much damage he deals. Now add a Crown of the Shattered Queen on top of that, which basically means he's kind of unkillable for a vast period of this game. And you could just see as his team is going to be defending him up, able to just push out this tower. Thought he's going a bit too far though. That's not top Twitch.
Bear is dragged the Q on his way through. It was True Emperor getting knocked up by that depth charge pass through. Could have been a little bit dicey. No crown, but no problem, as he's able to exit stage right. And yeah, the copium is, don't worry guys, we got the first shutdown and 5 of those Dark Seal stacks, so he's down a whopping like 15 AP.
You're pushing it now. That's a lot of damage coming off those Dark Seal stats. A whole 5? Oh, apparently that's made them so cocky they can start going for this Baron. 7k on it. No vision.
Caught them while they were backing as a group. No vision. 3k on the Baron. They can't find their way in. They don't know. And the heist. Can they find their exit though? Body block as best you can. Yet another hook connecting onto Xayah, but 2 versus 3. Incoming TP as they look to find some more. It's likely just going to be chopping down the Thresh and setting their sights on the Baron next. Mid lane chewing through Cass's HP. She gets a second on with that ultimate, but is burnt down in the meantime. Now it is Twitch left to do battle with 2. Can he kite it out? Xin will knock him out. And with the bear in fleeing, trying to find their way back to this Cassante. 2 versus 3. They're liking their chances marching up, but the swipe away and only Phosmaniac going down. Clarity swing this game in a considerable way, and they're not quite done here. Cassante under fire, able to get the ult onto Xayah. The footwork to safety, but all tools expended. Flash connecting, and the tower aggro. It's just beautiful from the Warden. And with the bear in hot pursuit, he's going to be given chase with the Chilling Smite. The shield for the KP, the double kill to Cassante, and they wash 2 more purples from the map here. Xin Zhao might not be so fortunate as he's forced to turn around, but once again, the Thresh is here to follow up. Radiant Virtue to set them up, and the flash away will be knocked away from. Throwing out the ultimate to deny as much outside the bubble, but it's a matter of time. Oku goes on a rampage. Felix the Warden throws up the most justified Mastery Flare I've seen in days, and they keep it going in the mid lane. Scatter the weak onto Cassiopeia as the Twitch free fires. Xayah in pursuit, and the carries will escape with their lives on both sides.
Sandbag, take a breather. That was a full 2 minutes of just pure carnage in this grand finals of the CWL. But on the back of that, it was a good play coming out from the side of Clarity, mostly because they're able to pick up that bad, able to almost pick up a tower play, but most importantly, able to get 5 kills under them, and that is going to be so big for them, because even though they are still at a 6k gold deficit, now they do have a little bit more gold in their carries. Most importantly, this Cassiopeia able to complete those 2 items, getting very close to those 3 items, and that's the part when Cassiopeia truly comes online. So the longer this game goes, the more possibilities they do have, and on top of that, they can finally see they can kill this Twitch, because he may have a lot of damage. He is still a Twitch though. If you're able to find one form of CC on top of him, he is just easily going to be able to get taken out.
Yeah, they've certainly made him bleed, knocking him down twice so far. The only one left to claim is that top lane bounty, but as you said, Phosmaniac, credit to him, he's doing a great job trying to keep this game at least within striking distance. And with the Soul on route, I expect to see yet another fireworks display from these 2 squads.
It is going to be Cloud Soul, which is going to be very beneficial, especially with the Volley Bear being able to just run straight at you. Even the Thresh, but beneficial is going to be Phosmania, able to pick up another tower to himself. That's another 300 gold in his pocket, but it's given the opportunity from the side of Emrys to get full priority over this river. Going to push out mid-wave as well, and they're trying to secure this Drake, and I'm interested to see if the side of Thingy want to even try and contest this, because they're going to be in a very difficult situation.
Looks like this is going to be their dragon to claim. He's just got so much damage to burn it. I don't expect, and yeah, it as identified as Clarity, giving it on up, meaning Cloud Soul will be swiped away to their side, and Uncontested 4-0 states just how the bot lane shaped up in this game.
Yeah, and we really have to give big props to Felix the Warden being able to find those hooks in the early game to get this Twitch such a lead where he can be 10-2 now. And Her2 being a nice person here, allowing his Cassiopeia to pick this up. Absolutely love this when junglers do it, being able to give the blue buff over. Still will be able to pick it up for himself, or he can give it over to one of his members. Maybe the Xayah might enjoy having it. However, I would have actually loved to have seen the side of Clarity to try and go for the mid wave and trying to get in the mid tower while the side of Ares are able to get themselves the dragon. And that's the one thing which I see a lot of teams in this rank kind of not do, is when you know you have to give up an objective, try something on the upside of the map. Try to get something for your time. However, still going to be very difficult with how far ahead Emery's is.
Absolutely. Try and find a position where your enemy is not and cross map. Something you see these excellent teams start to do is, if we're in a losing position, trade as best you can. If you trade even in a losing spot, that's a good play for you. As Flash in, a very nice sidestep from Xayah will not save her life until eventually the Flash does indeed. Q connecting as now he's in the middle of 4 people. Nautilus dies to the smite like a camp. Volibear going wild in the midst of them, and when Twitch free fires, blue side dies. Clarity down 3 members off the play from that mid jungle combo.
It should be an inhibitor at least, but they need to be very careful on the side of Clarity, because this could even be the end. They're able to find a few more kills on the back of this. This is why you do see both side laners, Fuzmania and Talatu, just completely give this up. Try their best to not be alive, because remember, both side lanes are going to be available. And if they're able to keep this game just a little bit closer, they'll get a lot of gold of this mid wave. However, it's looking like the side of Emery's are trying to push this pace of this game even faster. So they are going to be looking for this Baron.
Absolutely, just continue to crank those screws tighter and tighter and tighter. Baron in their sights, no one in a country mile, as the Baron's got 5k HP. Cassiopeia, not exactly known for steel tools, as now Thresh is going to be turning this one around, finds the snake, the flay to find it. Petrifying Gaze is beautiful from the mid laner, and the Twitch is down, giving maybe the door opening onto this blue side, but the damage pours in. They just don't have the fuel in the tank as they finish off the Xin Zhao 5 for 1. The Emperor is down, but the base soon to follow. 29-7, wearing purple. Emery's are going to march this one down mid and pick up game 1 of this best of 5.
Yeah, true Emperor being the only member not up with the team, even though he dealt so much damage in that last team fight. And this is such a confident win coming out from the Emery's.
Absolutely. Felix the Warden, take a bow, put that Thresh up on the shelf. We will not be seeing that moving forwards into this series.
If Clarity allow Thresh to get through, and they lose again, don't blame us. They have everything but themselves to blame on why they're going to lose next game if they allow that to be open. Because it felt like that champion was able to be bot, mid, and top all at the same time. But it wasn't just Felix the Warden to win them the game. I do have to give massive props to I Am King X, the jungle, and that Volibear, because of course Thresh needs to find those hooks, and we constantly saw the Volibear get this on first to allow Thresh to find that follow-up, and those two just paired amazingly well together, especially with 2 players who haven't played too much together, because we talked about the side of Emery's, how they love having people coming in and out, and they love having I guess just a revolving door of different players coming into their team. But it seems like these 2 players have played enough together to find that confidence, to find that link up, which I felt like Katoon and Sterling, because of the loss in the bot lane so early on, they weren't able to find, and from there the game just fully fell apart.
Absolutely. It was a tale of 280 carries, unfortunately. Not even necessarily due to the errors of either one or the plays on the other side, but when you take a quick zoom out and you're checking DPS, True Emperor, 24k, 11-3-8 scoreline. You're looking at Xayah, 12k, 1-9 and 2 scoreline. That is a tale of teams setting their AD carry up for very different trajectories, and as a result, that's about all she wrote in a bot meta. So absolute domination down there, translated to 4 Joan Drakes, translated to everywhere you went you fear that Q from Thresh, and swiftly collapsing their way into the base to put that one to bed and go up 1-0 in this series.
Yeah, and you just have to give them massive props on that. However, there is still going to be 2 more games for Emery's are going to be able to lift the titles of the Cobalt wins leagues, there's plenty of opportunities from the side of Aftermath Clarity to get themselves right back in this. And I feel like if they stop making these major mistakes down towards the bot side, this series is going to be a whole lot closer.
Absolutely, just gotta prevent that runaway train from getting momentum early on. So we are gonna be jumping into a break to set ourselves up. Give the two teams a moment to lick their wounds, set themselves up. Don't go anywhere, and we will see you guys for Game 2 right after the break. Getting Oku ahead is nice, don't get me wrong, but I don't think it'll end this. They're looking for a dive, though. Bot lane connecting, yet another hook onto Nautilus this time, though. The E-pop finish him off with the rat-a-tat as True Emperor is able to pick up his 4th of the game. Cassiopeia late to the party, meaning she cannot impact the play by the starting to roll. It's just kind of feeling like there are two supports on the side of this red team. The one that's roaming and the one that's there to cover the rat, save his life.
Not again.
And I've seen this one before. Hex Flash in, immediately getting the ultimate out of the Zaya, but the feathers rip through both of them. The DPS check as the marksmen go blow for blow, but one of them are 5-0. Twitch picks up another, and that is 10 down. The E to finish it off and sweeten the deal. We must run for the hills. Krug is able to body block the Q, but now it's getting a little bit dicey in this jungle. 3 versus 3 en route, his last wish. Death Sentence lands on the Nautilus, pulling him in, scattering him to the winds, as now they have to try and make their exit. Volibear is able to unstoppable his way on out. Fresh in a dicey situation if they find the CC, but they will not do so. And 4 versus 3, they walk their way down to the Twitch as the Dominus has been popped. Death Sentence connecting onto this Cassiopeia. The Bear is under fire in the middle of 4 people. They finish him off, meaning that we're gonna give the chase down on the right hand side. Head bonk from the Xin Zhao as he's trying to find the Thresh. It is Dominus giving chase to the Syndra, but Twitch is still left to his own devices, following the way back in. A scatter to find the displacement, exhausting the combo from the Zaya, trying to live as best she possibly can. The mid wheel is 3 incoming TP as they look to find some more. It's likely just gonna be chopping down the Thresh and setting their sights on the Bear next. Mid lane chewing through Cass's HP. She gets a second on with that ultimate, but is burnt down in the meantime. Now it is Twitch left to do battle with 2. Can he kite it out? Xin will knock him out. And with the Bear in fleeing, trying to find their way back to this Cassante. 2 versus 3. They're liking their chances, Mark. Clarity swing this game in a considerable way, and they're not quite done here. Cassante under fire, able to get the ult onto Zaya. The footwork to safety, but all tools expended. Flash connecting, and the tower aggro. It's just beautiful from the Warden. And with the Bear in hot pursuit, he's going to be given chase with the Chilling Smite. The shield for the KP, the double kill of the Cassante, and they wash 2 more purples. Thresh is here to follow up. Radiant Virtue to set them up, and the flash away will be knocked away from. Throwing out the ultimate to deny as much outside the bubble, but it's a matter of time. Oku goes on a rampage. Felix the Warden throws up the most justified mastery flare I've seen in days, and they keep it going in the mid lane. Scatter the weak onto Cassiopeia as the Twitch free fire best you can. If you trade even in a losing spot, that's a good play for you. As Flash in, a very nice sidestep from Zaya will not save her life until eventually the Flash does indeed. Q connecting as now he's in the middle of 4 people. Nautilus dies to the smite like a camp. Volibear going wild in the midst of them, and when Twitch free fires, blue side dies. Clarity down 3 members off the play from in a country mile as the Baron's got 5k HP. Cassiopeia, not exactly known for steel tools, as now Thresh is going to be turning this one around. Finds the snake, the play to find it. Petrifying Gaze is beautiful from the mid laner, and the Twitch is down, giving maybe the door opening onto this blue side, but the damage pours in. They just don't have the fuel in the tank as they finish off the Xin Zhao 5 for 1.
It's seeming like Emery's, even though what I was talking about. They don't have the strongest lanes. They're somehow finding the ways to work. Bot lane, of course, with the one play poking out Desire before the fight even starts, was able to get them the win. We talked about how Volley Bear and the Syndra, that's the only possibility for that 2v2.
Yes,
As another great
lands. Felix is finding these on cooldown, forcing Xayah back once more. The Dark Passage slays Alvant's blow, moving our way into the
bot lane is going to mean he's going to be completely safe here. Wave pushing away from him, and if there's an opportunity from Emery's to push this out, they can just start this dragon, and that's exactly what they are going to be doing. But no, instead, Thresh.
Hex Flash, collision course with enemy jungle here as the 3 versus 3 is going to be kicking off. Death Sentence going wide this time. The exhaust dropped onto Xin as he falls, turning their attention on the bot lane. Twitch still firing into this Nautilus. The E will not pop the knot. There is a huge set of winning plays here for Emrys. This Cassiopeia doing a good job to weather the storm. 2 visits from the bear, 1 from Felix the Warden, as now he sets his sights top. Q connecting once more, the ultimate and the flay expended for the displacement, trying to turn it around with the Dominus, but he will not find it. Last auto from the Warden picks that one up. Twitch is left to set sail back into this river, but threat their rat out alive. And yet again, Clarity comes up on empty-handed in this one.
Yeah, but overall, Clarity still coming off a good play. Understanding that Thresh roams up for this Rift Outs, then you know Twitch is all alone. Go for the tower dive, as it seems like they're going to be diving mid. Thresh can't miss.
Another Death Sentence connects. Felix the Warden sets him up. Last Wish knocks him down. And Syndra is of this one. Bot lane continues to get hammered away. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Cobalt Wins League for Game 2 of Emery's taking on AEC Clarity. We have had a bit of a substitution, not where you think, but here on the desk, as I am joined by the British Poro. Poro, get us up to speed on your thoughts going into this second match here, my friends.
I think Clarity are going to need to pick up the ball. I'm very disappointed by what I saw. I'm going to have harsh words with them after the series if they keep this up.
Backstage, he's going to have to try to sort them out and fix them. Whip them into shape here, huh?
I already know what Fuzz is saying. Fuzz, the entire match, or the entire game rather, he'll have just been going, Levance, you're trolling me.
Is that the exact
exactly like that. I guarantee you.
I love it, Scott. So okay, you're in a bit of a unique position where you might have a little bit of a peek behind the curtain. So I'm gonna say A, try not to leak anything that I'm sure that they've had.
Yeah, because if Emrys are watching,
because I feel like
about all their strats.
Leaking something in a DM is one thing. Leaking something in front of the full set of YouTube chat might get the word out a little bit faster. But are we expecting this to be the beginning of the end for the squad, or is this normally a team that can bounce back, shake things off? The emotional players, or the iron mental, the monk form in your experience of these squads here?
They are the most random team I have ever seen. So,
okay,
I would liken them to Weibo Gaming if you watch any LPL. Like, they can just decide to lose any game ever. But, on the contrary, they can also just win. You never know what you're going to get.
Is it playing to the level of their opposition, or is it just they coin flip before the game whether or not they want to play with their opposite hand or not? Like, are they just playing left-handed mouse and keyboard, or what?
Yeah, I think they coin flip before the game, in the game, during the draft, after the game. They must be rich with the amount of coins they have to flip.
Okay, but what that does mean is, for the Weibo enjoyers among us, does that mean we are going to expect a shy performance from the top side?
I am saying that Tail is the shy. Exactly. Now,
Tail
which version
is
of the shy?
You heard it here first. We are expecting some sort of absolute 1v9 performance, taking over the game as Jax or something. But as we might need to pull a little bit away to some sort of moderate casting, you were able to witness Sandwich in Hand Game 1 going, I'm going to say, not according to plan by my estimation for Aftermath. What are the alterations that you think might need to be made, other than get this Thresh out of my lobby for the next 2 weeks? I don't want to see it. Please, he has a family, guys.
I think that was an absolute monstrous performance from Felix on the Thresh. He just looks so comfortable on it. I think it's a pretty solid ban. But I feel like the draft went according to how Clarity want it. Like, it looks like what they would want from my perspective. I just think it's one of those cases where, like, the comparison is like if the enemy has a Kayle in top lane and the Kayle is just winning 3-0 in isolation, you're like, this isn't the draft problem, you know?
Yeah. It's like, okay, they have a Kassadin, and then Kassadin gets 3 kills on the level 1. You're like, well, our early game's over, and as a result, everything is just in shambles. Twitch rocking around with the level 1, then the level 2, then the level 3, and then the lane ended. Is that just an execution error then? Is that what you're saying? You're chalking it up to draft was fine, we just griefed, we're moving on, go next?
Kinda. I mean, I think, like you said, they can get rid of the Thresh. Some of it was execution error, but on the contrary, some of it was like execution being amazing from the side of Felix. So
right.
You can go both ways.
So it's a little of column A, a little column B. Maybe giving opportunities and then getting absolutely punished from those opportunities. But with the side flip here, AEC going to be sliding over to that red side after game 1, meaning Emery's giving themselves first pick. What are we expecting to see? Is that going to tweak anything, or what are we expecting from these squads here with the side flip? Is that going to change anything?
I think it depends whether the Thresh is taken away. I mean, with first pick, because Sterling also likes to play Thresh, so Emrys having first pick, if it's a contested pick that could benefit them, they might want to grab the Thresh straight away, now that both teams have seen what Felix can do on it.
Right. To try and swipe it away and free yourself up a ban.
Yeah, exactly. And I think there's a lot of priority in the jungle on Gore Drinker champs right now, so we'll see if any of those get taken away early, because I think jungle's one of the easier roles to pick early in the draft, and you're not too worried about it getting counter-picked later as opposed to if you're picking like a mid laner or a top laner.
Right. I mean, it doesn't matter who you're into. If you are Gore Drinker and Spear of Shojin J4, you are going to be happy. So I expect to see that, because we had fulls, and there it is. Yeah, that is the beginning and end of my predictions on the course of this one. We had 6 jungle bans in that first game. I don't expect that trend to continue here, but maybe the
2 out of
teams
2,
have
3 out of 3
other plans moving their way forwards. Oh no. Is it really
4 out
that
of 4?
big deal, do you think?
Right,
Oh,
I'm telling you, I mean, they just know jungle is broken. What can I say? 5 out of 5.
Jungle, so broken roll. Nito, please
6 out of
nerf
6.
these champions. We 6... Guys! Really? Is it actually that many problem champions, or do they just think it's funny to just hover hot garbage and then ban out 6 junglers every game?
Okay, so we get Last Wish going over to the Syndra again. They played last game, but as expected, we do see the Thresh coming in from the side of Sterling, taking that away from Felix. And it's responded to with Alistar. Oh, and this is a nasty Sylas with the Alistar shown if Foz chooses to go for this.
Yeah, they're absolutely speedrunning that draft here, as we had like 5 lock-ins in the space of 10 seconds, as it is going to be the securing of the Sylas here. He's got the Alistar ult, that unbreakable will. If you thought Sylas was hard to knock down through that W spam, try doing it when he's taking 40% less damage, just flat. And I don't expect to see the Vayne coming through to try and negate that with the true damage, so yeah,
Definitely.
Good luck knocking him down in those team fights.
The other thing this pick makes difficult is that you've not picked your jungler yet on the side of Emrys. And a lot of junglers give Sylas really good ults. They've actually got around it quite well. The Graves ult's not great for him, but I was expecting that they might struggle a little with 6 junglers already taken away and Sylas limiting the pool even further, but navigated around that quite nicely.
Yep, they had something already prepared, and to be fair to him, I Am King already, that's his top 3 most played champions here, is this Graves. He's got a good handful of solo queue games, he's played it a couple times. It might not have the presence that something like a Maokai does all over the map in terms of the sapling spam, in terms of the ult, in terms of the other abilities, and screw that point. There is a Shen on my screen into double marksman. This is digging deep into that pool here for these top laners.
It certainly is, and I really like this Jinx pick from Clarity because there's not a lot of engage on the side of Emrys, so the Jinx is just going to be able to sit back in rockets and just blast them from afar. If they ever do manage to somehow get like a miracle flank from a Cassante or something, they've got a Shen ult to protect her, they've got to get through Maokai CC, Thresh Lantern, so this Jinx I think is going to be really safe, so hopefully we don't see Alvance 1 and 9 round 2.
The 1 and 9 reprise, hopefully, for all of these AEC fans, will not be making a comeback. And yeah, I am very much kind of stunned at this, just taking a moment to step back and relook at this. There are how many jungle bans on my screen right now? 5 and 3. So we're already
8?
at, yeah. And we still ended up with King's 3rd most played, and Maokai, who I have been looking at for the last 10 business years. How do we ban 8 junglers and end up with 2 A-tier jungles nonetheless? What are we doing here?
Wouldn't it be even funnier if we banned 8 junglers and then got Maokai versus Sejuani?
Yeah, just where something that we've run into 110. It's like,
It's
yes,
every other
I
game.
haven't seen Vi Maokai for the 37th time in a row. That would be really exciting. At least the Graves is a little spicy, but yeah, like you said, I feel like Jinx is given far more room to work with thanks to that dodge bubble, thanks to the peel from the Thresh this time, she has the Lantern to safety, so she might get a little bit more breathing room, despite being on an objectively less safe champion than she was on previously.
Yeah, and one thing that I look at when I look at Clarity's draft is that they have the ability to be scrappy. They have bot prior with the Jinx Thresh into the Xayah Alistar. They're going to be able to push whenever they want. They can move the Thresh around the map, kind of like what Felix was doing last game, and then they can use some nice ultimates from Foz's Silas. They have a Maokai ultimate, they can drop Shen on top, so if they can get into the jungle of Graves, because this guy wants to just vacuum up camps, if they can interrupt his gameplay pattern, I think that's a good way for them to get ahead.
Absolutely. Don't give him the Karthik's experience of, I will see you guys in 30 minutes with 900 farm, and then we can fight. He can't just soak camps, lane creeps, anything he can get his hands on, try and get in there, get their hands dirty, and if you think that that is going to be the game plan, who do you expect to team up with Hatun to try and get in there and ruin this Bandit's day?
Well, I don't want to. I feel like bad if I tell them how to play on the broadcast and then they copy it. But what I would want to see is that they bring maybe Sterling and Hatu into mid. They do like a gank, but the objective is just to push the wave, and then the three of them as a package can move into the jungle. It's like very standard gameplay that we see in like LCK, LPL, right? But then they also have a Channel on top.
Right. It's just all of a sudden there are 19 people in my lane. Guys, please help me, free me from my tower, as poor mid lane is left to pick up the pieces. But we are going to be jumping into a quick break. Don't go anywhere, and we will see you guys for Game 2 right after this. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back for Game 2 on Summoner's Rift here between AEC taking on Emery's Esports. 5 men strong marching down mid lane. I have a sneaking suspicion that Red Side bot might have a bit of a chip on their shoulder, swiping away the Thresh and running headlong in an enemy jungle, but we'll not find anything. So, we take a breath, we set ourselves up. Poro, walk us through this one early on in this game.
Well, we talked about how... Oh, wait, we got a flash hook. And it missed.
Yeah. Okay. Sterling...
Okay.
Well, the remote game is on point. The engage could use a scrub up, as you were saying, my good friend.
This is where you just start spam pinging Thresh Flash.
Okay, I do not want anything.
Oh my god,
this one's already in shambles. No, Logic,
we need to watch this again. We need to watch this again.
Just rude. All right, if we zoom in here, you can see the... all right, ready for this combo, guys? For those of you who want to take notes, F key, Q key, T key. Throw up the emote on that one. Maybe not the ideal start, considering the level 1 that came out of Game 1 versus Game 2, but the energy is there. The execution just might not be quite so clean.
Oh, he landed this one, though.
True. That's 50%. That's still able to get something back on this one. It's a passing grade so far, but like not quite hitting the highs of Mr. Felix's Thresh, I will say.
There's still time. There's still time. Maybe he'll transcend.
True,
you never know.
He's warming up. True, he's just warming up. You know, dialing it in. He's gonna have some time to prepare, and yeah, this not quite what we're looking for from this bot lane.
Yeah, and you can already see what I was talking about with the prio of the Jinx Thresh over the Xayah and the Alistar. This is kind of a problem that you get with Alistar. Oh, wait, hook.
This one is important, though. One more auto plus the ignite. Atta boy, Sterling. Redemption 2 minutes in, as once again, Red Side bot picking up first blood in this one.
This tends to happen every time I cast a Clarity game, is that every time I start a thought process, like a hook will land, like, here you go, see?
Tower diving, able to pick that one up, cleansing away the auto to reset, and the move speed to exit. Al Vance picks that one up due to a beautiful sacrifice from Sterling.
So, there's 2 things I want to bring up here. 1, Xayah has 3 CS, and 2, I guess Thresh is just the best champion in the game.
Yeah, we're banning 137 jungles when actually Riot, please nerf support, so broken roll XD Smiley. Why is this champion continuing to run amok on this Rift?
I think we might not see Thresh in Game 3. What do you think?
Well, considering I said we won't see Thresh in Game 2, and then it got swiped away, not even first picked, I don't know anymore. I guess we're just going to ban 9 junglers, because that'll solve our bot lane problems on this one, as Maokai on a collision course will be sniffed out by Ali, and as a result, Hatun must retreat back in his own jungle.
This is really good for Clarity as well, because Hatu got the bot crab on Maokai, and Oku was on a base timer, so Shen's pushed in top. He could have just run through mid and got top crab as well, but looks like he wants to stew his grump.
Yep, electing to go back into that clear. We're just going to try and keep an eye on that jungle CS. I do expect, like you said, the Graves to find a little bit more here. A beautiful headbutt in displaces Thresh, but it was a bait all along. Hatun on route, and this cow is not long for the world. One more rocket to do it as Al Vance Pro, changing his fate from Game 1, goes up 2-0 early on in this one.
I feel like I'm watching the same game. It's Red Side have a scaling higher range bot lane. Blue Side have a lower range bot lane that's stronger early game. But
Hatun on route. Bramble Smash gets the flash as Last Wish is trying to run for the hills. No red buff for the slow. Flash Q. Hatun picks it up. Graves here to try and avenge his laner, but he gets himself locked down by those chains, and Fuzzmaniac picks it up. This is legit just a rerun of Game 1, Red Side running away with it early, this time nameplates inverted.
And, you know, all I want to say is that I wasn't casting Game 1, and Clarity got destroyed, and now I'm casting Game 2, and look what's happening.
Yeah, the Lucky Charm has arrived on the desk. This is what happens when you give them the game plan on cast here, Poro. They're cooking. They're coming together.
So obviously a really strong early game for Clarity, 3,000 gold up, but we need to take a step back and just evaluate what Emrys need to do in this situation. They do have relatively good scaling, mainly coming from the jungle role. The Graves is going to hard outscale the Maokai, but he needs to start getting increased tempo on his camp clearing. He needs to start vacuuming up camps. So we need the lanes to just be a little bit more stable so that I Am King can actually play his game.
Play back just a little bit, accept the fact that you might miss a range creep here or there, and let your jungler do what he wishes to do. He did look to try and counter gank, so he's not exactly been AFK farming, but as a result, 3 CS in the difference isn't quite the jungle vacuum that you were hoping for early on.
It's now 1 CS, which is, he is ahead.
True. A lead is a lead, and he has found his gank, throwing out the Unbreakable Will. He gets the stolen alley ult. I'm pretty sure that Graves auto healed him for Q. Yeah, that's not a man that you can kill, and they correctly identify. All right, Fuzz, we got your ult. Well, your hijacked ult, and you are free to go, sir.
Yeah, and Fuzz really showing the power of the Alistar ult on the Sylas and why I thought that it would be such a good pick in this game. And that's something that I think Fuzz is really good at, is as the teams are drafting, he's always got in the back of his mind, like, is it a Sylas angle? Like, he's looking at the ultimates available to him. He finds it here.
But Pulv gets the flash out of the Thresh. The Chompers will be flashed over, and as the exhaust gets traded out, that is both of Felix the Warden sums traded for both of Sterling's here in the support pool.
Yeah, Clarity also managed to get this first dragon without using their Shen ultimate, so Shen, a lot of the time, he's going to be ulting down to start stacking these Drakes, and he's going to drop behind in CS, but he's completely even with Cassandra right now.
Yep, he's got wave pushed in his tower. He's got the Maokai to cover if there was a potential look from this blue jungler. And as he continues to sit lurking in that bot brush, sat on a ward too. This could be a dangerous situation for Thresh. E in headbutt, Pulv. Sterling goes down as I Am King picks up one back for his side and gets the goalpost just a little bit closer here.
That's a really nice lane gank from I Am King, as we do see a cross map.
Right. Ultimate throwing this one out, flashing away from the engage. The Shen taunt will connect as he looks to continue fighting it out. Q3 from the Untofo strike into the grass proc just to send him on his way. They get Oku's flash and they get his health nonetheless.
Yeah, and the gank in bot lane from I Am King is exactly what he wanted on this Graves. Graves tends to be a very honest champion, and by that I mean you kind of know what he's going to do. He's going to full clear, and then whatever side of the map he ends up on after his full clear, he's going to try and gank that side. So now that he's done it once, as Clarity, you can go, okay, he's full clearing top to bot, so we can expect him to clear for about a minute, and then he's probably going to gank bot lane again.
And instead, he's going to be looking to try and get underneath this structure, headbutt pull, but no tower aggro, as Phosmaniac's going to try and be exited out by his support. The escape route comes through from that dark passage, and Shelly will be allowed to reset despite the scuffle.
It scuffles all across the map. And I think this is kind of what I Am King doesn't want in a way, but also if they do get a kill here or there, they can claw themselves back into the game. So it's a tricky one for Emrys.
It's tough enough. A tense moment here as Phosmaniac had no E available and no flash, but couldn't quite close the difference as Felix the Warden throwing out the Featherstorm. He's now diving into 4. The Jinx Rocket chunks them down. Sterling is able to get the alley, the Sylas is traded in kind, and now Maokai with that phase rush move speed, closing the difference, but it is Sterling cleaning up the double kill. Corpses litter the mid lane, 2 men dead on blue side, and on the other, Phosmaniac dies, but the TP will certainly soften that blow.
And the more things change, the more they stay the same. This time, a huge performance from Alvance, crushing laning phase, and then that massive cross-map 4-man Jinx Rocket. But also Sterling still taking every kill.
Sterling is currently rocking a squeakier KDA than you would like for a low economy champion like Thresh. That being said, you will always take more gold in the pockets of your team, even if it's slightly suboptimal placement of where it goes.
Exactly, and it's not just the gold that you accrue for yourselves, it's XP, because waves crash into turrets, they then disappear, the laners get less XP, and also then you have Prio, and you can move around, you can see Hatu now starting up the Rift Herald as a consequence of what just happened in the mid lane.
Yep, trying to always continue that butterfly effect, trying to move your way forwards, and as we see that gold difference start to mount, 3k lead plus the objective, moving our way on in, it's going to be a situation where continuing to up the lead on the carry, that's that alignment we were talking about. Even if it's not perfect, it's still a whole lot better than what the other team's rocking. Scrap here in the jungle, the Graves is forced to ult for the displacement, the TPs are going to be channeled, Cassante on the flank finds 2, as the red HK continues to fly forwards. One more footsteps does it, he's able to pick it up, is Oku, now turning his sights onto this Shen. Silas is slain, trying to find the Maokai engage. He does connect once more. Smites fly out left, right, and center. Stopwatch to buy a moment as he flashes out to connect the death sentence of his own. Flash from Alice, the supportal combat. Mid's going to be trying to duke it out and finally finish off Sterling. A scrappy one on both sides as the cow is flung the wrong way. Alistair evading the taunt, but with nowhere left to run. Currently, he's not going to get collapsed on Maokai. He's walking the wrong way. There's no way we let him out of this. Felix the Warden running as fast as his little legs can carry him. Flash forwards from Maokai. W creep taxi is not enough. And the cow will live to fight another day. A bloody and messy fight on both sides here, Poro.
Extremely bloody and messy, but I like what Emrys were going for. They took a fight in the bot side jungle where Hatu wasn't, and they took it while the Shen'll, the Stand United, was on cooldown. So I feel like that is like their best chance to win a fight, and the start of it looked really good. They got Syndra coming in on one flank, they got Cassante teleporting in on another flank, and it made life really hard for Alvan, so he had to flash over the Syndra stun. He's then got the Cassante ulting him and chasing him down and killing him, but Clarity, they kind of just slapped them with their wallets there.
Yeah, the gold ended up swinging that one just a little bit too far to overcome, and it was not the cleanest on either side as these supports find each other time and time and time again in these scraps.
We might see another one.
The engage for the mid lane, Alvance with the super mega death rocket knocks down Last Wish, and it is continuing to pour gold into the pockets of this bot lane. Red side bot just has that secret touch here, as now fighting it out in that bot lane. Jinx trying to find her exit and will do so. And on both sides, messy, messy fights continue to burst out across the map.
Amazing cross-map ults from Alvance this game. They've all been on point. And I think a funny stat to bring up is that currently Sterling on the Thresh has more gold than True Emperor on the Xayah, which is not looking good for Emrys.
Not at all. It's like when you're watching those pro games and they pull up the how is the gold going across the map, and enemy support is above your solo laners trying to find the engage here, though exiting away with that pushback as Oku might actually find his exit in the bot lane. Stand United will provide the shield as 3 men strong bot side death sentence connects on to Felix the Warden. And the Maokai under turret gets shut down, locked down. Death sentence connecting yet again for the Flay pullback. Shutdown going the other way this time. They're keeping this going till the cows come home. And as their enemies respawn, it is yet again carcasses littering the map, but red side coming out on top.
You can see Alvan's pinging Sterling there. I mean, he just hit every hook. The Threshers in this game have been insane. I mean, maybe it's everyone else. Maybe just no one can dodge. I don't know.
I don't know, because some of these are being weaved through creep lines. They're being weaved through back lines, like the last game, the Cassiopeia was getting found despite 2 meatballs stood in front of her. So I'd like to kind of give the credit over to Felix the Warden, to Sterling. It's not like people are walking in straight lines. They're earning these connections time and time and time again.
Yeah, and a little bit unfortunate for Clarity. They're playing for the soul stacking win condition, obviously, because they're so far ahead early. And they rolled a Chemtech soul, which I think is pretty universally agreed to be the worst soul. But it is really good specifically on Silas. The heal and shield power that you get from the individual Drakes obviously helps him, and then damage reduction at low health, where he loves that.
Absolutely. I was gonna actually say that was gonna be my next point was despite the fact that it is, like you said, universally spat on is the kind creative term to do it. The fact that Silas can make good use of it, but Shen as well, with his healing and shielding, the durability, trying to get another bubble out to save his marksman, can be quite meaningful here. To try and
the heal and shield
make
power on
some
the Shen.
use of it. Flash engage might have to hold that as Alistar destroys Jinx where she stands. A little bit too brazen as Alvance Pro goes down.
And the gold goes over to Graves, which is much better than what we saw in game 1 with all the shutdowns going on
the
to
box
Nautilus.
flying out, turning their attention onto Thresh. He's exhausted. The Flash will buy his safety as the TP's channeled from both mids. The scrap continues back and forth as they do battle. But yeah, like you said, every time you open your mouth, these teams decide, nope, time to fight, let's go in, TPs are channeled. One more try at this, or do we expect another bloodbath?
I'm gonna try and talk. Just be nice, guys, okay? No fighting. I'll do the Peaky Blinders gif. But I always find it funny when you have this tank versus Shen matchup. In bot lane there, as the fight was going on mid, Oko on the Cassante was just constantly hitting tail, so that if he tries to ult, he can cancel it. But neither of their health bars are moving, so it just looks like they're having a wet noodle fight.
Beating each other the head with pool noodles is about all the damage that they're doing, as they do find yet another Thresh Q. Alistar burning to the true damage, and with no ultimate to save his life, the Stand United will do a much better job. Everfrost will be featherstormed away from Flash. Taunt is cleansed, but the damage is enough. Talito, with a beautiful engage, finds enemy marksman, and that is 2 men dead on the side of Emrys.
With True Emperor down, I think it should be a Drake and a Herald over to Clarity. I think, yeah, Hatu just picked up the...
Ooh, Thresh walking into Fog as they look to kick this off once more. Stolen ultimate with the Featherstorm. The Everfrost connects. A fight on 2 fronts, but the Jinx is excited and she runs amok. The W to pick up her triple kill as Alvance Pro, talking about a chip on his shoulder, is come to collect on that early game from the first one. The stun does land, but with not much more follow-up and a red buff in tow, no fear from the marksman of Clarity.
Well, the lucky thing for Emrys is that it's not 20 minutes yet, because if at 20 minutes you make those kind of mistakes and 3 people die in your bot side jungle for no...
the unbreakable will. He's liking his chances 2 versus 1 as Alvance Pro will not slay Felix the Warden, but takes his enemy marksman. Flash forward from Cassante. The ultimate with the point and clicks. Yeah, you're not getting away from that one. No more rabbits in the hat. Means that Oku expends everything. Red side get dragon. But Alvance's reign of terror is finally put to an end.
Well, honestly, thank God. I'm glad he's dead, because you know what? I was trying to talk, and he's just running down mid onto their inhibitor tower on his own. What are you doing, man? Just let me talk.
One-man Jinx raid was surprisingly much more effective than I gave him credit for, but still eventually ended exactly as you expect the one-man Jinx days.
What I wanted to say is that if the 3 people from Emrys had died at 20 minutes, then Clarity could have looked to take away the Baron, but it wasn't spawned yet. But unfortunately, Alvance rudely interrupted me by trying to 1v9 in their base.
Yeah, maybe needs at least a couple more items before he tries to go for the full-on solo carry experience. He's being set up surprisingly well for it, and another thing that I want to touch on of being surprisingly well set up. You touched on the fact that up in top lane, Shen normally ults away, normally goes down CS, goes down levels, he's just here to support. I'm looking at 12 to 12 in levels, and up a couple waves. This Shen is going to provide all of the peel required, as now Fozzie's in a sticky situation. The Unbreakable will delay it, but can he find some sort of magic turning this around on the Silas, blocking the chains? Abduct, abscond, he's buying time for his Shen to get there, and with reinforcements en route, the power will be unleashed into his back, and now it is Shen who bit off more than he can chew, trying to juggle his way through. The taunt will not find their way through, and eventually they whittle through the health bar, but it is the classic top laner for Baron trade, as eventually both solos die at the expense of that objective.
And it's such a fundamental like gameplay thing, is that you can't send 4 people, especially your jungler bot lane, at 20 minutes, because the enemy team will just take Baron. And that's what we see here.
Overloading one side of the map is a great thing until you realize that the real prize was on the first side of the whole time. And yeah, like you said, the 4-man engage, sure, you get a pair of shutdowns, you get a 600 gold. Not worth here from the side of Emrys.
I think what's really dangerous, never mind.
Tofo strikes are beautiful, flipping both bot laners into the team. Graves diving forwards over that wall with the E, picks himself up a double kill, and Shen TPing his way in is once again hung out to dry. Just gotta farm those Heartsteel stacks as best he can, but all of a sudden, your Baron buff is cut violently short here by this blue side.
What a massive mistake from Clarity. They just walk up to the tier 2 after taking Baron. 3 of them die. They could have just reset, gone with the lane assignments that I was about to talk about. I was going to say what's really dangerous is that the play that we saw with Silas in the opposite side lane to the objective, with his TP up, and Shen in the other side lane with his ultimate up, they could have repeated that to put pressure on this Dragon Soul, just like they did on the Baron. So if Emrys would have gone to collapse on the Silas, they could have done exactly the same play that we just saw, but instead, they just run it down top lane.
That's maybe not the most efficient macro call I've ever heard in my life, of the run it down top lane strat with the dragon en route within a minute. It's a popular one. Don't get me wrong, a popular one, but the efficiency just might not quite be there on that particular call.
Yeah, I don't think it's as popular as run it down mid. That one's like really caught on, and it's sort of cemented in league strategy at this point. But run it down top is a close second.
On route, and speaking of a ridiculous, I don't want to say running it down, but this Alistar is caught between a rock and a hard place. The ult can only buy you so long, as Felix the Warden goes down, and with 40 seconds left till that Drake, that's a costly slip up by the support player of this Emery side.
You know what would have been really cute there? If Clarity could have just kept hooking the Alistar and keeping him alive, because they had a window where they can delay his death by 10 seconds and he'd be dead for this dragon, whereas now he's alive for it. So, but I think that's quite a high level gameplay.
Those delay strats are surprisingly effective, though. If you know the team is nowhere and you have them dead to rights, it's like the whole idea of, for those Overwatch players amongst you, bodyguarding the baby diva so she doesn't rejoin her team because she poses no threat. That was a perfect situation where you could hold off, but at the same time, the result is the same. Red side claims their prize regardless, as they set themselves all the way through to that most desirable soul. And Shen, now under fire, diving forwards, he flashes away from the engage, the intent to buy more space, and throwing up the emote. Red side loving this emote game, 6k gold lead. The TP is very brave here in the middle of 3 members. Onto the Chompers with him. Death Sentence connecting onto the backline. The engage will come flying out underneath the structure. Be damned. Jinx just needs that first reset as Maniac goes on a killing spree. The ultimate to snipe it out. Maokai to hold the structure as blue side bite off more than they can chew. And Aftermath demolish them in that fight.
We have a word for what just happened in the industry. It's called desperation. Emrys, with the Kentek Soul going over, they think, right, we need to make something happen. We need to get some form of control of this game, and then maybe we can play for an Elder. They go for a play, it fails, and that might just be game. If it's not, they're going to reset, they're going to rotate around the map, and they're going to take more inhibs.
At the very least, it is a massive chunk taken out of the base here, as another Death Sentence connects onto the Graves. 4-man pop-up has left the Zaya with maybe a morsel, but the Jinx is simply too strong. Shen to provide the bodyguard, flying forwards with the Featherstorms, going golden to buy some time. Jinx is shut down by the mid. Syndra is able to get something back as they turn this around. The Last Stand holds the door. Last Wish able to pick up a double kill onto the carries and send Emrys back to the brink of this game.
Well, every time you think that the game is going to go in a nice controlled play pattern, like this is going to happen and then this is going to happen, no, we're just going to fight again and we're going to see what happens.
You said at the beginning of this game that this was the coin flip on coin flip on coin flip, and they are currently living up to it. Everybody getting in on this one, and unfortunately, not even the coin flip is immune to the pause. We made it through game one with no tech issues, but unfortunately, we will be giving you info as soon as we get something back. But, yeah, where do we even stand, Poro, at this moment?
Well, it's a nice swing back for Emrys. They get some gold in their pockets. I think we're going to have a look at a replay of the last fight. Oh, never mind. The game's continued. Replay cancelled.
It's okay. We're all a little bit herky-jerky here as some tech issues never quite got what we were looking for, but yeah. What are we looking for here, Poro, in terms of what you were saying, map state?
Yeah, so it's a nice swing of gold back into Emrys' pocket, but the tempo is all in the hands of Clarity. They have a huge vacuum of pressure in this bot lane with the inhib down. They can choose either Sylas or Shen to put in the side lane, probably Shen because he can join with the ultimate, and they can just siege the mid inhib as 4. If Emrys try to engage, then the Shen ult will come in, and they should win the fight because of how monstrously far ahead they are with the Dragon Soul. And then after that, they can rotate into the top lane, and with 2 waves of super minions coming into the base every 30 seconds, it's going to be so hard to defend this top lane. And then you have 3 inhibs down, and that's when Elder's spawning. But we might play for this Baron.
Yeah, I agree. Absolutely, that is the correct decision. However, what if we all just stood holding hands in a brush and hoped to find something lucky? Thoughts?
Let's do it. I'm here for it.
The Fnatic Death Rush, all of that precision engineering that you just walked us through, the rotations, I do agree. Please put your double global away from the rest of your team. You are a Shen for crying out loud. Let him be Shen. Bot lane will auto-push. And instead, I'd expect to see hold hands and walk towards the worm here from this red side. As they do indeed start it on up.
Big pressure from the inhib. The wave was pushed in by Tail. He has the ability to join at any moment with the Shen ult, so he can be wherever he wants. But now is when I think they should do what I was talking about. They should put 4 in mid, 1 in top. The top laner, it's even better if he can... It's kind of awkward with Baron sometimes, because sometimes you have to hang back to not buff your minions, because what you want to do is wait until the inhib goes down and then crash the wave so that the rotation timer is correct for your team to rotate in and push the tower.
Yeah,
but honestly, at this point, I think Sylas can just solo the towers.
Okay, Marksman, a little bit carried away with that blast cone, forces the Featherstorm out of the True Emperor, meaning one more tool out of the quiver of that Marksman.
And here, I want to see discipline. No, Alvance is running forward. No, I wanted to see him run towards top lane, not towards the enemy fountain. But, you know, we're getting there.
The 11k gold lead might do something to take the edge off of the over-aggression, as it's going to take something special from Last Wish especially to find a scatter. Vix the Warden may be looking for the engage here. This Jinx is once again excited and Baron creeps 4 in. You gotta pull the trigger at some point. Eyes on Ali to find this engage as Maokai gets chipped away at, hunkering underneath their Nexus towers that have a third of an HP apiece. That sentence not connecting here. They find their Maokai, chunking him down to half, poking and prodding, focusing on the waves as best they can here. As once again,
this is the last easy wave they have, because the next one is all double supers.
Super creeps en route here, and with slivers of HP on those Nexus, you gotta find it. Cleansing away from the Q from Thresh as they find their engage. They're gonna be pulling the trigger here, but the structures are already down. Nexus exposed. Free firing Xayah is able to put the damage into this team fight. Keep your eyes on her, but eventually the wallet is dropped. Quadra kill going over to Sylas, and Red side finished this one off in style here. Fozzy Maniac putting a stamp of authority on the end of that one.
Well, I think we've learned two things from this series. One, Thresh is broken. Two, red side bot lane wins. It just wins.
Which one is the contributing factor? Because those seem like the same thing to me. Is it because Thresh was red side bot lane twice, or is it because red side bot lane is simply just broken?
Honestly, I think it's that we have two players that are really proficient at Thresh, and so if one of them gets it, they kind of just take over. Especially, one thing that I didn't like in the drafts for both of these games is that Xayah is a really heavy prio pick at the moment, but the reason that's become a thing is that a lot of people are drafting things that like to run into you. We've stopped seeing things like Jinx and Zeri, but if they blind Xayah early, you can just pick Jinx or Zeri or Twitch like we saw in game 1, and when Xayah's outranged, she can't really do anything. Like, you see her, she's kind of just helpless. There's no one for her to hit.
Yeah, because the ideal dream for the Xayah is to dodge a key skill with a Featherstorm and then rip those feathers back through you as you walk into her. If she's trying to walk on stable ground and, like you said, is outranged, it's simply the little brother experience where the older brother puts the hand on the forehead and you just swing wildly and don't actually connect with anything. AD carries getting outranged with no gap closer, as we don't see any sort of movement, means that Emperor just never found their footing in this one.
Definitely the case, and I know you said it last game. Maybe we don't get Thresh next game. Maybe because I don't think we need 8 jungle bans. Maybe we can cut it down to 7.
I would agree with the sentiment that we could drop one of those jungles to knock it away, or simply just first pick it. If both of these both of these players are so adept on their champion that they can play it into a worse matchup, and it is such a high priority, even if you want to keep your absolutely tomfoolery-filled drafts full of 8 jungle bans, just grab it away. Just deny it here for either one of these blue sides.
Well, it's like you said this game as well. I Am King's Graves got through, and so did Maokai, so maybe we need 10 jungle bans.
Maybe we need to only spell out 20 words on our drafts.
Oh, yes.
Because I was already appreciating the hover, so maybe it is no longer the meta of jungle bans or roll bans or counter bans. I think we need to start spelling. I think if we have enough letters for Emery, right? Can we spell out Emery in our bans?
Yeah, they can do Emrys with
their
5 words, and then Clarity.
Go.
I mean, Clarity. If any of you are listening, you need to ban so it spells Hatu.
Hatu? Yeah,
that's the tech.
Yeah, okay. Alright, so for those of you wondering, this is the top level analysis you can look forwards to in Game 3. As we tie this apart, we are going to be cutting to a break, so don't go anywhere, and we will see you guys right after this.
Yeah, the heal and shield power.
Some use of it. Flash engage. Might have to hold that as Alistar destroys Jinx where she stands. A little bit too brazen as Alvance Pro goes down.
And the gold goes over to Graves, which is much better than what we saw in Game 1 with all the shutdowns going
the blocks flying out, turning their attention onto Thresh. He's exhausted. The Flash will
having a wet noodle fight.
Beating each over the head with cool noodles is about all the damage that they're doing, as they do find yet another Thresh Q. Alistar burning to the true damage, and with no ultimate to save his life, the Stand United will do a much better job. Everfrost will be featherstormed away from Flash. Taunt is cleansed, but the damage is enough. Talito, with a beautiful engage, finds enemy marksman.
I think it should be a Drake and a Herald over to Clarity. I think, Hatu just picked up the...
So go it. Ooh, Thresh walking into Fog as they look to kick this off once more. Stolen ultimate with the Featherstorm. The Everfrost connects. A fight on 2 fronts, but the Jinx is excited and she runs amok. The W to pick up her triple kill as Alvance Pro, talking about a chip on his shoulder, is come to collect.
Well, the lucky thing for Emrys is that it's not 20 minutes yet, because if at 20 minutes you make those kind of mistakes and 3 people die in your bot side jungle for no...
Where's the Unbreakable Will? He's liking his chances 2 versus 1 as Alvance Pro will not slay Felix the Warden, but takes his enemy marksman. Flash forward from Cassante. The ultimate with the point and clicks. Yeah, you're not getting away from that one. No more rabbits in the hat. I mean, slay it, but can he find some sort of magic turning this around on the Silas, blocking the chains? Abduct Abscond. He's buying time for his Shen to get there, and with reinforcements en route, the power will be unleashed into his back. And now it is Shen who bit off more than he can chew, trying to juggle his way through. The taunt will not find their way through, and eventually they whittle through the health bar, but it is the classic top laner for Baron trade. Engage, sure. You get a pair of shutdowns, you get a 600 gold. Not worth here from the side of Emrys.
I think what's really dangerous, never mind.
Tofo strikes are beautiful, flipping both bot laners into the team. Graves diving forwards over that wall with the E, picks himself up a double kill, and Shen TPing his way in is once again hung out to dry. Just gotta farm those Heartsteel stacks as best he can, but the game 6k gold lead. The TP is very brave here in the middle of 3 members. Onto the Chompers with him. Death Sentence connecting onto the backline. The engage will come flying out underneath the structure. Be damned. Jinx just needs that first reset as Paz Maniac goes on a killing spree. The ultimate to snipe it out. Maokai to hold the structure as blue side bite off more than they can chew. And Aftermath demolish them in that fight. Very least, it is a massive chunk taken out of the base here as another Death Sentence connects onto the Graves. 4-man pop-up has left the Xayah with maybe a morsel, but the Jinx is simply too strong. Shen to provide the bodyguard, flying forwards with the Featherstorms, going golden to buy some time. Jinx is shut down by the mid. Syndra is able to get something back as they turn this around. The last stand holds the door. Last Wish able to pick up a double.
Because the next one is all double supers.
Super creeps en route here, and with slivers of HP on those Nexus, you gotta find it. Cleansing away from the Q from Thresh as they find their engage. They're gonna be pulling the trigger here, but the structures are already down. Nexus exposed. Free firing Xayah is able to put the damage into this team fight. Keep your eyes on her, but eventually the wallet is dropped. Quadra kill going over to Silas, and Rez side finished this one on their shoulders, swiping away the Thresh and running headlong in an enemy jungle. Elder is come to collect. And gentlemen, welcome back to the CWL for Game 3 of Emery's Esports taking on Aftermath Clarity. We find ourselves tied up in a 1-1 situation where red side is actually the most broken role in the game. Please nerf. I do not want to see another Thresh as Poro. What are we missing here to catch everybody up to speed on this deadlocked set?
Well, I just really want to talk about side selection. Clarity and
favorite.
Emrys,
the most interesting of all the talking points.
It's a very interesting
side
topic.
selection.
Emrys chose blue side, meaning that Clarity will have the OP red side, even though they didn't get to choose it. So we'll see whether it is actually OP or whether it was a coincidence.
Or whether it was Thresh is actually OP, but with is that a word in my ear from the producers? A surprise clip to kick things off? Alright, send it to us here. Oh no, I've seen this one before. How many times are you gonna do poor Sterling dirty? Every single time, alright? Yup. And just as egregious as the last 3 times.
Okay,
Sterling, I'm so sorry. I
no.
did not condone this.
No, I know what was happening there, because you know for the rest of the game his hooks were insane. You remember when you first got a Nintendo Wii and you had to do like the calibration thing where you point it at the different things and you like click so that it understands where it is? That was his calibration hook.
May I ask a follow-up question, sir?
Yeah.
Why are we flashing on our calibration hook? Why? We're not even in any sort of situation.
It was his calibration flash.
Okay, so his flashes for the rest of the game are going to be on point. The emote, I do love the self-awareness here from Sterling throwing up the thummies.
I mean, who would you say had some of the most gameplay issues on the side of Clarity? I think it was probably Alvan's running in a little too deep sometimes. Did Alvan's calibration flash? No.
No, that is 100% success. And the calibration flash is also currently undefeated. According to my statistics, every team who has calibration flash has won the game so far. So once again, we have notes running right now on I've got it right up on my screen. Is Thresh OP? Is red side OP? Is calibration flash OP? Which one of these 3 things is the true secret to success from these squads? Or is it a combination? Is it the trifecta, the triforce of these things that make the perfect trinity of game-winning plays?
It could be that you need to bring them all together, and we'll see if either of these teams can replicate that. I mean, the red side one is already gone, but we have another clip. I'm receiving news.
Hot off the press. I'm so terrified. I feel like getting clipped is 9 times out of 10 a good thing.
I'm expecting it to be like just a random clip from my solo queue or something at this point. We're watching Hatu in this clip.
Oh, I know this one.
Oh, this is the Hatu Zinzao flash.
The head bonk. Yeah,
okay.
That is the direct result of no calibration flash right there.
Exactly.
It's coming together. I think we've cracked it. I think we have
Exactly.
solved...
If he calibration flashed at level 1, he would have nailed that.
Absolutely. Yeah, we've all been there. Let's be honest. All of us League players, we have definitely hit our head on that wall more times, either going for the steal or going for the exit. So he's in good company on that front. The death to the Twitch poison does rub salt in the wound, though, I will say that much.
Someone's using me as a ward. There's a little Poro with a mustache and a monocle in the pit.
Oh, look at you. You got the bird's eye view. And
I was literally next to Hatu when he flashed into that wall.
The best view in the house of this man hitting his forehead directly on the back of the Baron pit.
He tried to flash over the wall and I pulled him back over. I was like, nah.
Tripped him up on the way through. Yeah, it's unfortunate. But yeah, trying to loop this one all the way back around, we do find ourselves 1-1 in, honestly, neither game all that close. So what was the difference? Like, what really broke this game open on these 2 fronts? So what are you looking to do to try and replicate and hopefully win 2 in a row for one of these sides, or haul back the previous success that they had in game 1?
both games we've seen massive deficits coming from the bot side of the map, and both games we've seen Xayah picked into a lane where she struggles to interact because the enemy carry is like massively outranging her. So if these teams want to have priority on Xayah, they can either look to ban away high range bot laners, but I think there's too many. There's Varus, there's Caitlyn, there's Jinx, there's Twitch, there's even Ziggs we see a lot in pro play at the moment. Or they can just leave the pick until later and see if a Xayah spot opens itself up. But I don't think we should be forcing Xayah.
Yeah, maybe despite the priority on it, it is a situation where it is good as an answer, right?
Yes.
It is the denial of the point and click. It is the denial of the Nautilus, of the Vi, things of that ilk. It's not innately strong when faced up against, like you said, that range being such a problem. And now I want to get kind of pick your brain a little bit. We've said Thresh will not be seeing a resurgence twice. He has turned up every single time. Is this finally the call where we can span one of our jungle bans to the Thresh, or are we seeing yet another resurgence of this champion?
We go 10 jungle bans and we counterpick Thresh with Blitzcrank. That's the line.
We counterpick Thresh with Blitzcrank. I absolutely love it, and I have absolutely no confidence in that happening. It did get hovered, so they are aware that he exists, and despite the unfortunate death of Jungle Blitzcrank in this patch, he is still a prominent sport.
Yeah, we'll have to see if that does get picked up. I'm not sure if... Let me see if I can find out if either of these supports play Blitzcrank. I think Sterling plays a little bit of Blitzcrank. Felix, I can't see any... Oh wait, no, there is some Blitzcrank in his match history. There you go. It could happen.
It could very much make the appearance. Or could be a Yuumi. Thoughts? Could be a Yuumi?
I think we'll find out very soon. I wouldn't like to see Yuumi, though.
I have such a vendetta against that cat. That cat can stay firmly in the bag, but as we launch into Champion Select,
Jungle bans.
As per usual, start banning the jungle out. Please stop before 6 this time, guys. Why are we handshaking this? I don't normally criticize on cast, but I am... Stop it. We are trolling. Stop giving 6 bans and still getting premium junglers.
No, we need more.
Stop it.
Don't let, we're like the, you know when you have like the angel and the devil on the shoulders.
Yeah,
that's
the
like me and you right
yang.
now. Like, stop
The
banning
two
all these junglers.
contributors.
No, more. 10 of them.
10. Counterpick Blitzcrank is still on deck. We're already at 4. All right, we got Kha'Zix, we got Sedge. Maybe finding a Graves. It's like, what are we thinking on this? I don't even want to predict it. Just put me out of my misery. Ban another jungler.
Alright, you ready for Thresh B1?
How exciting, team. Please ban the Thresh.
No, we banned jungle, and it's B1 Thresh. See, jungle ban, B1 Thresh. Look. Ready?
You're both animals. I love
I wonder,
the Rise
does
hover every
Last
single
Wish
time.
main Rise?
He's
He
not
always
gonna
hovers
like
it.
He's not gonna lie. He just hovers this. They were hovering Teemo, my friend. This is not going to be a Rise.
Is it going to be Syndra? Is it a salty runback?
It might actually be this on the other side.
So now it's
And once
Maokai Jing? No, what was it? Maokai Thresh?
I was gonna say Thresh Mao. It was Thresh.
Oh,
R1.
I mean...
Yep. Guys!
Oh! It's the Hatsu Teemo jungle.
hover. It is not gonna be a Teemo. I hate to be the killjoy. Please... I love the hover, but please just pick the Maokai. Are we actually...
There's no way he's going to lock Teemo, surely.
There's a moment. Don't get baited by the hover. We stall.
Ah, it's Maokai.
We holes. Yeah, there's a Maokai.
Oh, they're going Braum. Okay.
Coward! Hatoon! The coward himself. This is a salty run back to end all salty run backs, Poro. I don't even know what I'm looking at. I'm already tilted.
The Braum accomplishes the same job as the Alistar without giving such a good ult over to Silas. It's a... Never mind. Salty run back.
We are all reported. We are not amending any of our game plans. Normally, I need to get the whole of... Normally, the whole pitch is, it's a series! We can make adjustments game to game! We can solve things! These teams have never heard of the definition of insanity. I'm fuming on this one, Poro. You take the mic for a second. I need to go breathe into a paper bag and cool down.
I'm trying to think what you can pick in bot lane that can deny the Jinx from working. Oh no, we're just banning more jungles. Okay, I was thinking you could start doing some bot lane bans from Clarity, but nope, jungle bans.
I swear down, if I look and I alt tab back over and see.
Okay,
10
Jinx
jungle
removed.
bans, I'm gonna freak out. Thank you. I don't even know if it's necessarily priority number 1, but it is not jungle, so I will give it to you. The amendment is made. What are we thinking on this now? Trying to take away. You'll never guess. Sins out the jungler. Banned away.
I think
So
you
is
can
this-
look. I don't think Alvance plays a great deal of Zeri. Aphelios is okay here. I think, again, just drafting range at this point when there's not a lot of... like, these champions that Emrys have, they prefer to go backwards than forwards. Like, Alistair can kind of flash in, but naturally he wants to kick people out. Although the Vayne, that's very interesting.
We do get it locked in. Thank you, boys. The answer to the flat mitigation on the Alistar is actually that Vayne true damage, so I do like that counter pick. It's going to be very difficult to navigate into the side that they've cooked up for that Syndra, so maybe not the greatest angle, but it's
Neil,
still
this
bot lane safe.
this could be Vayne
here.
top.
Oh, true, actually.
Into Cassante?
That might be the flex. Into Cassante, it does do quite well, if I'm not mistaken. Tryndamere got 50 flat range, so
He's
he
completely
is starting to rise these ranks. Yeah, the CDR, I would like... Do you have enough magic damage on Silas plus Mal? Do you reckon this?
I think so, yeah. I mean, you can play Tryndamere. I think Tryndamere's best role is mid. That's really good. That is really good. Okay, so here's what I love about this pick. The Darius, there's 2 champions on the enemy team that really struggle to deal with him. One is Cassante. When Cassante presses R, Darius presses R, and he dies, because he sets himself into execute range. The other one is that Alistair is trying to have a low health pool, but be really durable with his ult. Well, Darius doesn't care. He just presses R, and the Alistair dies. So the Darius is really good here. The only thing is that he is really going to struggle to interact with the Syndra and the Twitch, but that's where Foz on the Silas and Sterling on the Thresh and Hatu on the Maokai are going to find some way to lock them down and allow Vayne and Darius to get into range, because their carries, Vayne, Darius, Silas, they are all quite low range, so this Twitch could become a problem.
Absolutely. That was what I was going to try and touch on, is the fact that I feel like you've got heavy burdening onto this Syndra. Try and buy the space available. Try and make sure that they are giving some breathing room over the marksman. But we are going to continue. Oh, info. Oh no. This is getting scuffed, team. I'm so sorry. What? Hit prediction. Give me that. Give me the word. Oh no. There has been a gentleman's agreement behind the scenes, chat. For those of you wondering why I continue dunking on them, they think it's funny to have a handshake agreement to ban jungles every single game to target Hatun and target I Am King. So this is not a strategic decision. This is the 2 bros, gentleman's agreement, duking it out, which explains a whole lot about the flavor of this series so far.
Certainly does. One thing I would like to see again, we saw it in game 1, is that True Emperor on the Twitch, he built AP. And AP here, I think, is really good. The slow on the AP Twitch W scales with his AP, going up to like 99%. And against Darius, that can be really, really good.
True. Trying to play that keep away game. The extra range from that spray and pray combined with that slow. Plus, you do have contributing damage from the Wukong, from Cassante. Do you think that it might just over-index everybody towards those mercs, though, if he does indeed go AP?
I think true damage is good.
You think true damage is
I
good?
don't think you can build against AP. AP Twitch does probably like 50% true damage and then like 40% magic damage and 10% physical damage. So with that much true damage, all you can really do against it is build health. but then you're gonna have like Sunder or Wukong with percent damage, Cassante dealing percent damage. Like I think it's there's no damage spread issues for Emrys.
So they just have enough to just punch straight on through. And on the other side, yeah, this is gonna be a game of true damage. I feel like resists are significantly disadvantaged, but we are gonna be sending ourselves over to a break. Don't go anywhere, and we will see you for more jungle bans and more action on the Rift here in Game 3 right after the break. And welcome back to Summoner's Rift for Game 3 of these two teams duking it out. Aftermath and Emrys going hammer and tongs. And yet again, if I see a calibration flash, I'm going to have
I was about to say, Sandbag, are we going to see a calibration flash?
I do not. Stop. Get it off my screen. Sterlings, do not press that F key.
He was looking exactly in the same spot. Exactly in the same spot, under the mid lane turret, but Emrys, seeing last game, they saw the calibration flash strategy. They moved away from the mid lane turret. They don't want any of that. They don't want the juice.
They do not want any of the smoke, as we have the full 5-man stack walking, holding hands, making sure there has been no silly counter engages. And eventually, these two teams settle long enough to spam ping everywhere on the map simultaneously. And yeah, these two this is some clown juice drinking I've ever seen it from these two teams.
It definitely is. Now, one thing that we need to bring up is that this game, as opposed to the other two, we've actually sort of crisscrossed the win conditions. We've got Thresh on red side, but the higher range ADC on blue side.
True. And they do have that. So I will say, like, just trying to tailor this a little bit cleaner here, Alvance Pro, if tradition stands, will continue to get a lead in this game. And I feel like if Vayne does run away with it, your front line is made of wet tissue paper.
Definitely true. I think gold on Foz is going to be really important in this game because you do need someone to be able to jump on this Twitch and kill him, and Silas is like the easiest option. Like running in with the Alistar ultimate, or you can even use the Wukong ult
to try and buy the extra resistances that he needs to get on in there. And the other thing is, he doesn't even necessarily have to kill True Emperor. Just needs to make sure he's not lining up multiple targets with that ultimate and free firing. If he's backpedaling, you're still doing your job as Foz, in my opinion. So that's going to be what you look out for. Less so the kills, but more so the space in these team fights.
That's a really good point, actually. Yeah, I agree. Because if you can separate it into like frontline versus backline versus frontline versus backline, when you have a Vayne and a Darius, their frontline's going to die a lot quicker than yours is.
Absolutely. Especially into two champions that index so hard towards resists, and two champions who have true damage. Where Alistar isn't... He's incredibly tanky, but not due to the reasons that a typical jungler is now en route. The Silas is here to ruin the Monkey King's day. Wukong down, and Alistar soon to follow. This is going to be 2-0, and yet again, short-ranged marksman pick up early gold in this one, flashing under the tower. The cleanse is not enough. Beautiful damage knowledge from Alvance, and Vayne off to the races already.
That was insane. He knew that he had just enough damage if he used the Condemn into the wall to get the bonus damage and proc the Silver Bolts. That was nasty from Alvance.
That was a statement from the marksman of Aftermath Clarity. And take another well-deserved look at it on this one. Poro, walk us through.
So one of the issues that Clarity have had traditionally is that they've not been able to link up Foz and Hatu, but they do here perfectly. Foz moves down, the fight gets separated, which leaves Alistar in no man's land, dies over to Alvance, and then watch this play from Alvance here. Perfect damage calculation.
Absolutely gorgeous. Gets the first auto for the first stack of the Silver Bolts, tumble for the empowered damage, and then the Condemn plus the damage plus the W. It all pours in at once, just like you called out. And that is knowledge of champions displayed in full effect.
Yeah, and as far as repercussions for the game go, we see an all-in top lane.
Ghost here from the Darius, waiting for one more Q, might be the difference maker, but doesn't have it available, meaning that tail throwing the Ghost does set his wave up nicely, but will not get the sum from Oku.
I think he needs to base here, because Oku's going to TP back, and then he's no mana, no health. He's in a bit of a predicament. I think he could have based with that wave coming into him. But yeah, we talked about the win conditions of this game. We mentioned gold on Silas, and also the Twitch being the biggest carry for Emrys. Well, Twitch is 12 CS to 42 and dropped a bunch of XP as the wave died to his turret. And Foz is shoving in every wave and moving and making plays. So looking really good for Clarity so far.
Absolutely. And like you said, they also solved the issue of the coordination of getting already linking up Hatoon and Foz to get things going as a unit. Normally you want to combine that jungle and support, or that mid and jungle, walk around as a unit. And once again, I Am King looking for more in the bot lane, but getting scouted by these wards twice in this short period of time.
Yeah, and Last Wish is going to be feeling a bit sad now, because what can happen, this happens in solo queue a lot, is you're playing against Silas, you're doing fine, you're farming up, you're not letting him get anything on you, but he succeeds on a roam, your team die to it, and then all of a sudden you can't lane against him anymore.
Ultimate might have to hold that up top lane, getting the flash out of tail as Oku gets something back, headbutt into the oncoming Wukong, two-man pull as Twitch is now trying to dice this one up. The Q will tumble Vayne to safety. Bramble Smash to find the slow. The Ignite thrown out plus the poison means dots on dots on dots. Sterling burning down, but looking to kick it off again is Hatoon up at the top lane, throwing out the ultimate. Not enough stacks to finish the job, as no one dies across the map despite a pair of scuffles on both sides.
You can say what you want about these teams, but you cannot say that they don't give you action. There's action all over the map. There's fights in every lane. You've got Foz taking big trades in mid. You've got huge fights in bot with both junglers going in. Somehow Alvan's ended up under the tower. It must have been like a Q flash into W from Felix. He gets lanterned out. You've got an all-in the top lane. Darius ult nearly taking down Oku. And more fighting now.
Absolutely trying to continue chunking. That Glacial providing the slow to let True Emperor fully stack up his passive. But on a ward was I Am King, meaning they play it respectfully. 900 HP left on this dragon to finish it on up, and a wave to collect means that they are more than happy with the extended play here.
They definitely are. And across the board, they're doing extremely well. Down 5 CS in mid lane, but melee into range and got that successful roam. And actually, I think Foz is catching a wave right now. Oh no, yeah, he is just down a wave of CS, but he got that roam off. But a huge lead in the bot lane and a pretty decent advantage in the top lane as well.
You did kind of touch on the fact that the gold on Foz is such an important thing. Is this a concerning start to the game? Even though it's scraps of CS, but the fact that Last Wish is still... Are we concerned about Foz's state moving forwards, or is he happy enough moving in?
I think Foz is happy. I don't think you're too concerned about the Silas right now as Emrys, but you are concerned at how far behind your Twitch has been put. It's not so much that Silas has gotten ahead, it's just that the Twitch is far behind, so relatively speaking, he is ahead because, yeah.
Yeah, just the idea of if it's a competition and one person is doing mediocre and one person's doing terrible, the mediocre one is coming out on top in that competition.
Exactly.
So. True Emperor. He does have his summons back up, providing him some safety, and 6 is en route. Foz does have to be worried about the collapse from both sides, but he does have his flash available to try and get away from that alley combo, and as a result, they do not pull the trigger. Grabbing up once again, Alistair ult in his pocket's gonna feel good, and he is actually up in that extended play.
Yeah, I think it's... Honestly, like, I don't know whether I'd call it disrespectful, but it's sort of questionable as we see a fight in bot lane. I'll continue that thought later. True Emperor, he just sneaks away. Goes with the wraparound.
Yeah, the issue of the double invisibility is that sometimes the marksmen can't even find each other to click on. So eventually, True Emperor able to escape that one out. It doesn't even take some, so technically it is a positive despite how awful their wave looks.
Yeah, really nice use of the bush and the vision pockets from True Emperor there. He gets all in, Vayne uses the ultimate, and just in exchange for nothing, as he gets hooked and has to cleanse, but in exchange for nothing, he got away.
Cleanse Force box has been dropped. Level 6 on Thresh versus 5 on Alistair might be the difference maker here as Alvan's Pro. Blood in his eyes, the Q connects, and with the mid on its way, they're gonna have time to get yet another 2 versus 2 kill. Don't even need Foz in the top lane. The Ghost is thrown out here, fully stacking up that passive stacks. The blood begins to flow, throwing out the dunk onto the damage. But Oku is tanky enough to hold the line here.
He is for now, but once Darius gets level 11, if Oku tries to do that, he will die.
Play. Oh, throwing out the shutdown is able to connect. Wukong not long for the world, and yet again 1 for 1 as I Am King and Alvance Pro both fall.
What a scrappy game! There's fights everywhere. It's so hard to keep up with. Yeah, we've got Foz and Last Wish moving into the bot lane, both mid laners moving down there. They do manage to get the shutdown from Alvance onto Last Wish, so this Syndra are going to be feeling really good when she manages to go back to base and spend that gold. But we saw in the top lane, not quite enough damage with the rank 1 ult, but when Tail gets to level 11 and has some AD, if Oku on the Cassante tries to do what he did there and ult the Darius, while the Darius has stacks, the Darius will just press R and he will just die.
Just immediately bleed out on that one.
Yeah. Cassante can start to mitigate that later in the game because he can buy Stone Plate, so when Darius goes to press the ultimate, Cassante can press the Stone Plate button and that will save him, but until he gets that item, it's really deadly for him.
Yeah, that telegraph damage does have that answer in the build, as we have the Maokai here to set up the ultimate, trying to trap his way on the mid-jungle. Gets a pair of roots, but the clone will block it. Warrior Trickster trying to dive back in. The chains connect. A beautiful engage from Foz. And he slays I Am King where he stands. Monkey King in the dirt once more.
Oh, perfect layering of CC. He hits the Everfrost, he drops the Q underneath him, uses the Everfrost to confirm the E2, and then as soon as the knockup from the E2 is over, he hits him with the Wukong ult. I Am King just didn't move.
Just had no chance to fight back here as, like you said, duking it out time and time again. No ult on Oku's despite the trades. Means that he will not be whisked away, and pretty much everywhere you look, it is red side out on top. And look at the Silas damage pour in now.
Yeah, the Silas is very ahead now after picking up that kill on Wukong, and definitely a threat. True Emperor is going to be worrying about where he is, because if he comes in on a flank, he could just one-shot him. We got TP.
Trying to bring the way in as Last Wish on route. Has the Q, has the E, looking for the scatter. Connects it onto Thresh as now Twitch and Vayne, but they get one back. Maokai's here to cover the play, and the extended the two-man pop-up from the Wukong ultimate. But Vayne just turns this around herself. Down 2 levels, no issues. Her reign is eventually stopped as Alvance Pro is knocked down. But the alley-oop from the combo, now 2 versus 2 jungles and supports, duking it out. Ali on the chopping block as Atun knocks him down. Wukong last man standing, but it is still 3 for 1 at the long play.
Stand back, they won 3v4. I'm not entirely sure what Emirates were going for there. They collapsed onto the Thresh instead of the Vayne. Meanwhile, Alvance on the Vayne, we've got another fight. But you can see the Darius ult here.
The bleeds on both sides, the dot, but only one of them finishes the job. The poison from True Emperor is able to knock down the Maokai, who throws up the Mad Bee and is eventually swept underneath the rug.
Let's see if I can do a quick recap here. Please, just let me talk.
Dive. You don't have a chance to recap nothing. Ghost popped here from Tal, waiting out that bleed, trying to find the footwork. The Q will save his life.
Oh, he lived.
And it is slivers on both top laners, but they will live to fight another day.
Okay, ignoring top lane. They hit each other, nobody died. Bot lane, like I was saying, Emirates, they went in, they collapsed onto the Thresh. They don't manage to get him, but meanwhile, Alvance on the Vayne just solo kills True Emperor on the Twitch. He's completely ignored. By the time they decide to collapse onto him, the Lantern comes out from Sterling, and Alvance is lanterned back over to safety, and then wins the fight. And then, meanwhile, Foz is just pushing mid. After the bot lane play, Hatu rotates into mid and drops the Herald using the push that Foz got to be able to take down the tower, but True Emperor also goes there off his respawn from base and manages to kill the low health Hatu. There you go.
When your color caster has to speak at play-by-play speed to keep you up to date, that is exactly the kind of game that we have on our hands. Rocking the near kill a minute scoreline. And in the midst of that, Dragon did get swiped over to the side of Aftermath Clarity. So things swinging their way heavily more and more over time.
Big difference this game as well. Hextech Soul. Really powerful Soul, especially with the static Shiv on Vayne. You can bounce that massive slow onto people from so far away.
Lightning on lightning on lightning, and these two top laners just continue to hammer away at each other. But take a look at that mini-map. This isn't going to stay a fair fight for long as Vayne is en route, and Alvance Pro is going to force Cassante back, throwing out the ultimate from a long way out is this Maokai, but the 1 versus 1 goes Oku's way. He goes all out. Vayne goes underneath the structure, but is CC'd. She bites off more than she can chew, and the flash will not save her, losing the shutdown and getting finished off. 2 kills over the side of this blue team. Emery Sports happy with that.
I think we're going to have to start calling these the Alvance moments, where he just goes into the turret and dies.
See, that's the thing about these hyper-aggressive AD carries, though, is they find those Rager's edges. They find the openings that no one else sees, but the downside is sometimes no one else saw it because it wasn't there. So that comes good with the bad, and True Emperor forced to flash away from Foz. Bad goes to worse for this marksman. En route is the mid laner, though. Beautiful stopwatch to amend the damage as Foz with the sidestep away gets the AD sum, stopwatches the ultimate, and disappears off into the night.
And he's going to have his TP if he needs to get back onto the map. All the pressure that he just absorbed gave full vision control of the Herald over to Clarity, as no one was in topside there from Emrys. And now this Herald, I can't see any world where Emrys managed to get this. I think it's going to go over to Clarity.
Steadily connecting, but will not add up much more. And I think you're absolutely right. The river belongs to them. The jungle belongs to them. The lanes also belong to them. So with those boxes ticked, the Shelly is a formality at this point.
Yeah, and I've said it a fair few times, but Tail finally hitting that level 11, this 1v1 in the side lane against Cassante, really dangerous for the Cassante now. Because if he ever does press R, he is pretty much in lethal range to the Darius ult.
Might be a sticky situation though, in the midst of 5 people, but the Ghost will buy him the safety he needs. Able to dip his way out with only that short cooldown, and opposite side of the map. We talked about cross maps in the previous game. They're navigating it much, much better as Clarity pick up their structures down there.
Definitely are. And Sterling there on the Thresh, we've seen him hit some insane hooks, but somehow managed to miss a rooted target there.
Not quite the finest moment, but we'll give it to him. Both of these supports have a lot of insurance built up, in my opinion. They've already proved they can navigate it, so we give a couple here and there. No one's perfect.
Everybody gets one.
I honestly, with the performance of these subs, I'm willing to give 2.
Okay.
We'll do
everybody gets 2. I'll allow it.
Everyone gets 2. Like, expended one of these here. But as we kind of refocus on this map state, 2 Drakes down. As you said, that Hex Tech is on its way. It's starting to get a little bit scrappy, but gold's still heavily in their favor. And speaking of scrappy, the TP coming out onto Maokai and Silas as they're collapsed on. The tree will be escorted by Dark Lantern. And it is a beautiful passage to safety here. Sterling, right place, right time. Remember what I said about giving him 1? I think he bought himself another, a soul for a soul here.
I cannot stress how huge this is for Clarity, because their Hatu didn't use the Maokai ultimate, but the Wukong ult was committed from I Am King. And with this Drake spawning now, it's going to be so difficult to fight without that key ultimate for the side of Emrys.
Yeah, not to mention, like you said, Maokai can just hurdle that off into the fog of war and then finish the Drake. And I Am King doesn't have a flash, doesn't have an ult. It's going to be so much harder for him, the level 10 Monkey King, to try and get involved. So that might have just been a Drake winning play from Sterling.
Sometimes Hatu gets caught and it looks amazing. Sometimes he gets caught and just dies. But in this occasion, it worked perfectly. Mainly because of Sterling's Lantern. Let's not give Hatu the credit, but yeah.
No. That was a calculation from the jungler. I know my team is en route, and I have faith. And as 3k is whittled down to 0, Hex Tech Soul Point has been claimed here from this red side.
Yeah, and now all you have to do is just play a standard game, play for objective setups. You get a Hextech Soul, you get a Baron, and then close it out like you know, like what the end of the last game looked like without some minor mistakes. But this is Clarity versus Emrys, so we won't see that. We're going to see scrapping, and I'm all for it.
We're going to see just a fist fight in the river over this Baron pit. As that is your ticket back into this game if you're able to swipe that away for Emrys. So they're not going to give that up without a fight. But yeah, 7k is a hefty challenge to try and work your way through as the marksmen find each other. Scat of the week on the Vayne. Vance Pro down and out as they jump on the solo marksman.
Maybe they can look to take away Baron here with Alvan's dead, but it is still going to be difficult with everyone else on Clarity alive, and they committed the Syndra Flash to get that kill, as well as the Twitch ult.
Syndra Flash, along with the Twitch ult, Thresh is looking to give chase, but his death sentence goes wide. The Wukong ult has come back up. He finds the pop-up onto 2 twice, is now the engage from the flank. It is top laners en route, duking it out. Darius in the backlines, wreaking havoc with the resets. The bleed will finish Syndra as Tail takes it into his own hands. 5-stack Darius wreaking havoc in these backlines and putting a stop to this blue side advance. Throwing out the all-out here, but he's forced to sidestep. His way away is Oku, and Darius is a problem they cannot solve. 3 men hit the dirt, 2 wearing blue.
Unfortunately for Tail, he just didn't quite know his damage. Maybe he's got less gold than he's used to. Didn't quite get the reset on the Syndra. I think if he did, he could have pentakilled. Like, the way he got into their team there and got the bleed stacks, but they are starting up the Baron, and this is going to go away. It's melted by Vayne.
Yeah, we got Rage Blade, and that's about all you need with that W starting to pour in. So Alvance Pro here to clean up the mess. That was a very nice engage from this Emery side. They identify it, they jump on him, but his top laner there to bail him out. And this is a cohesive unit from this red side. They're looking better and better into this series.
And honestly, that's the little Poro ward. That's twice in a row that I've seen members of Clarity kill me. It's very upsetting.
Yeah, as a member of the Poro community, I'm sure you're going to be sending a strongly worded letter to these squads afterwards.
I'll be writing emails.
Yeah, I do not condone this behavior. We will be having words of this after the game series.
Let's see how Clarity can use this Baron. They have one of each of their solo laners in each side lane, but they don't have teleport available for Foz, and obviously Tail running Ghost Flash on the Darius. So if Emrys want to 5-man mid, they can look for an engage onto the 3. Foz is marking it, though.
Foz identifying the fact that they could be out on that flank, could try and find their way into the short range. And this is the one downside of this comp, is your siege is not that great, even with the Baron. It is going to be an all-out here from Cassante as he dukes it out with the Darius, auto for auto, but
That's
Tail
what I was talking
once
about.
again out on top. Level 11, like you said. Unbreakable Will from the Alistar will buy some time, but he's got no Q left. He's underneath his tower and cut down. The rampage continues as tower aggro navigated beautifully. Syndra next on the chopping block, going 1 for 1. Actually gets the trade out on Sterling too. So a nice, noble last stand from Last Wish buys a moment as Twitch is left to pick up the pieces.
Oh, we're going into a replay. We'll see what we're getting here. Okay, we see the bot lane as Oku uses his ult, which sets his health into a threshold where the Darius, with the 5-stack bleed, can just press R and delete him. And then we get engaged with the Maokai ult under the tier 2 turret. Alvan's free hitting in the backline and just shredding through the front line of Emrys as Foz uses the Alistar ult to tank up the tower. Dives under, takes absolutely no damage, and all of Emrys fall except for True Emperor.
Yeah, and even True Emperor was lucky to get out alive there. He only had a couple hundred HP, but we got ourselves 30 seconds before this Hextech Soul. I'm expecting to see a contest, as is the standard across the board for Emrys. How do you possibly navigate this with ults just about coming up in time?
I think you lose the game if Clarity get Hextech Soul, so I think you just have to try and make a pick. And Alvance looks ripe for picking here.
And they find it on cue. Caster Curse coming up big for Emrys. The guts of their damage cut out from under them. And now 5 versus 4. Darius is making the push on the other side and looking to contest this. Twitch and Silas finding each other and duking it out. 9k left as the blue side do own the pit, turning their sights on the Maokai. The Rat is en route to put the shots in. Their base is going to fall in the meantime. This is getting scrappy as we got 5k left on this Dragon. Looking to finish it off as they can. 2k, swipe it away, secure it. They will get it. Monkey King grabs this one up. Wukong's able to grab it. And with the top lane respawning, turning around, Wukong ult thrown out onto Silas. He is down. Thresh, can he find another exit for his top laner? But they sit on top of the lantern. Hatun turning this onto Dark Emperor. And at the burn, finishing him off from the grave. Twitch gets his just desserts. Box chucked out. The burn damage might actually do the job as Sterling's able to grab up Last Wish. It is a messy, bloody affair, but eventually they will secure themselves that soul denial.
Wow, a lot to talk about here, Sandbag. So in the fight, Foz ended up taking the Twitch ultimate, which I'm not sure if that was a misclick or the other ults were on cooldown, but a pretty useless ultimate for the Silas. Didn't really do anything for him in the fight. You had Tail in top lane the entire time, and Emrys are now down an inhibitor. While we were watching the fight, Oku went and tried to stop him, but nearly got one-shot by the Darius ult again, crawled back to his fountain on 1 HP. But for Emrys now, you have stopped Clarity getting Soul. Now you have to do it 3 more times, and you lost an inhib the first time. This is not going to be an easy comeback for them.
Yeah, you might not have the time to play with and be forcing Oku out to that side, but it just feels like no one can answer Darius. Their tank gets shredded. Last Wish might be the opportunity to deny it, but then your Syndra is not in the team fight where she wants to be, so it's going to be a tough nut to crack. Once again, your best bet is hoping for an Alvance moment and jumping on that opportunity.
Well, that's what we got in mid just before the Drake, didn't we? We saw Alvance get caught. This is something that I've seen as a problem with Clarity, just with the inside info that I have, is that sometimes on their objective setups, they don't play for the wave. So Alvance was wanting to play for the mid wave to get a good setup onto the Dragon, but Sterling and Hatu weren't escorting him, so he just got collapsed on.
2-man scatter. Speaking of collapses, there might be something here, but the Lantern to safety once more. Right place, right time seems to be the story of Sterling as he continues to whisk his teammates to safety.
We might see another Darius moment here. He's level 16 now, by the way, so whereas his ult was leaving K'Sante on like 100, 200 health before, no, now he's just dead.
He's checking into the brush. He finds the 2-man pole onto the backline as Syndra is en route. Can she make the damage happen? The shield bow surviving so far as Vayne does just enough to turn this fight. Syndra down, the ultimate with the level 16 flash for flash. K'Sante going all out, but the Q will finish the job. It is an ace for the side of Aftermath Clarity, and with the base already in shambles, like you said, that's gonna do it for the game. The solos will finish the job, and Clarity, Aftermath picks up game 3, putting themselves on series point.
Well, there were a couple of Alvance moments in this game, but overall, a really clean game from Clarity. They had individual moments, solo kills. You had the insane Alvance play under the tower early game where he flash auto condemned True Emperor, and that really got the ball rolling for them. Yeah, I mean, just a really well played game from Clarity and a nice draft as well.
Absolutely, they were able to navigate the short range nature of their comp, build their leads. Thresh is still OP, and Sterling making it look so. Like you said, just a very well-rounded move from Aftermath puts them one single game away from taking this one all the way to the house.
We'll see if they can get it done, or if we're going to go to Silver Scrapes.
If they can push this all the way out to Game 5, but we are going to be cutting to a short break to set ourselves up for either the last stand of Emery's, or like you said, pushing it to Game 5. You will not want to miss it, so don't go anywhere, and we will see you guys right after the break. Going out the dunk onto the damage, but Oku is tanking.
But until he gets that item, it's really deadly for him.
Yeah, that telegraph damage does have that answer in the build, as we have the Maokai here to set up the ultimate, trying to trap his way on the mid-jungle. Gets a pair of roots, but the clone will block it. Warrior Trickster trying to dive back in. The chains connect. A beautiful engage from Boz, and he slays I Am King where he stands. Monkey King in the dirt once more. Has the Q, has the E, looking for the scatter, connects it onto Thresh as now Twitch and Vayne, but they get one back. Maokai's here to cover the play in the extended, the 2-man pop-up from the Wukong ultimate, but Vayne just turns this around herself, down 2 levels, no issues. Her reign is eventually stopped as Alvance Pro is knocked down, but the alley-oop from the combo, now 2 versus 2 jungles and supports duking it out. Ali on the chopping block as Atun knocks him down. Wukong last hammer away at each other, but take a look at that mini-map. This isn't going to stay a fair fight for long as Vayne is en route, and Alvance Pro is going to force K'Sante back, throwing out the ultimate from a long way out is this Maokai, but the 1 versus 1 goes Oku's way. He goes all out. Vayne goes underneath the structure, but is CC'd. She bites off more than she can chew, and the flash will not save her, losing the shutdown and getting finished off. 2 kills over to the side of this blue team. Wide, the Wukong ult has come back up. He finds the pop-up onto 2 twice, is now the engage from the flank. It is top laners en route, duking it out. Darius in the backlines wreaking havoc with the resets. The bleed will finish Syndra as Tail takes it into his own hands. 5-stack Darius wreaking havoc in these backlines and putting a stop to this blue side advance. Throwing out the all-out here, but he's forced to sidestep his way away. Even with the Baron, it is going to be an all-out here from Cassante as he dukes it out with the Darius auto for auto, but
That's
Tail
what I was talking about.
again out on top. Level 11, like you said. Unbreakable Will from the Alistar will buy some time, but he's got no Q left. He's underneath his tower and cut down. The rampage continues as tower aggro navigated beautifully. Syndra next on the chopping block, going 1 for 1. Actually gets the trade out on Stir. They secure it. They will get it. Monkey King grabs this one up. Wukong's able to grab it. And with the top lane respawning, turning around, Wukong ult thrown out onto Sylas. He is down. Thresh, can he find another exit for his top laner? But they sit on top of the lantern. Hatun turning this onto Dark Emperor. And at the burn, finishing him off from the grave. Twitch gets his just desserts. Fox chucked out. The burn damage might actually do the job.
Whereas his ult was leaving Cassante on like 100, 200 health before. No, now he's just dead.
He's checking into the brush. He finds the 2-man pole bot on the backline as Syndra is en route. Can she make the damage happen? The shield bow surviving so far as Vayne does just enough to turn this fight. Syndra down, the ultimate with the level 16 flash for flash. Cassante going all out, but the Q will finish the job. It is an ace for the side of Aftermath Clarity, where Alistar isn't... He's incredibly tanky, but not due to the reasons that a typical jungler is now en route. The Sylas is here to ruin the Monkey King's day. Wukong down, and Alistar soon to follow. This is going to be 2-0, and yet again, short-ranged marksman pick up early gold in this one, flashing under the tower. The cleanse is not enough. Beautiful damage. Knowledge popped. Level 6 on Thresh versus 5 on Alistar might be the difference maker here as Alvan's Pro, blood in his eyes, the Q connects, and with the mid on its way, they're going to have time to get yet another 2 versus 2 kill. Don't even need Foz in the top lane. The Ghost is thrown out here, fully stacking up that passive stacks. The blood begins to flow and throwing out the dunk onto the damage, but Oku is tanking.
But until he gets the item, it's really deadly for him.
Yeah, that telegraph damage does have that answer in the build, as we have the Maokai here to set up the ultimate, trying to trap his way onto mid-jungle. Gets a pair of roots, but the clone will block it. Warrior Trickster trying to dive back in. The chains connect. A beautiful engage from Boz, and he slays I Am King where he stands. Monkey King in the dirt once more. Has the Q, has the E, looking for the scatter, connects it onto Thresh as now Twitch and Vayne, but they get one back. Maokai's here to cover the play in the extended, the 2-man pop-up from the Wukong ultimate, but Vayne just turns this around herself, down 2 levels, no issues. Her reign is eventually stopped as Alvan's Pro is knocked down, but the alley-oop from the combo, now 2 versus 2 jungles and supports, duking it out. Ali on the chopping block as Atun knocks him down. Wukong last away at each other, but take a look at that mini-map. This isn't going to stay a fair fight for long as Vayne is en route, and Alvance Pro is going to force Cassante back, throwing out the ultimate from a long way out is this Maokai, but the 1 versus 1 goes Oku's way. He goes all out. Vayne goes underneath the structure, but is CC'd. She bites off more than she can chew, and the flash will not save her, losing the shutdown and getting finished off. 2 kills over the side of this blue team. Wide, the Wukong ult has come back up. He finds the pop-up onto 2 twice, is now the engage from the flank. It is top laners en route, duking it out. Darius in the backlines wreaking havoc with the resets. The bleed will finish Syndra as Tail takes it into his own hands. 5-stack Darius wreaking havoc in these backlines and putting a stop to this blue side advance. throwing out the all-out here, but he's forced to sidestep his way away, even with the Baron. It is going to be an all-out here from Cassante as he dukes it out with the Darius auto for auto, but
that's what I was talking
once
about.
again out on top. Level 11, like you said. Unbreakable Will from the Alistair will buy some time, but he's got no Q left. He's underneath his tower and cut down. The rampage continues as tower aggro navigated beautifully. Syndra next on the chopping block, going 1 for 1. Actually gets the trade out on Stir. They secure it. They will get it. Monkey King grabs this one up. Wukong's able to grab it. And with the top lane respawning, turning around, Wukong ult thrown out onto Sylas. He is down. Thresh, can he find another exit for his top laner? But they sit on top of the lantern. Hatoon turning this on to Dark Emperor. And at the burn, finishing him off from the grave. Twitch gets his just desserts. Fox chucked out. The burn damage might actually do the job.
Whereas his ult was leaving Cassante on like 100, 200 health before. No, now he's just dead.
He's checking into the brush. He finds the two-man pole bot of the backline as Syndra is en route. Can she make the damage happen? The shield bow surviving so far as Vayne does just enough to turn this fight. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the CWL for Game 4 of EMR taking on AEC. We are going to be slamming straight on into Champion Select, so I'm going to kick it over to Poro to get things started on. I am going to rub my crystal ball and predict at least one jungle ban. Thoughts?
I'm going to predict
Too
at
ambitious?
least 8.
At least. I hate how that's a legit prediction, if you want to say at least 8.
Yeah. Let's also bring up the fact that Emrys losing Game 3. For Game 4, they've elected to choose blue side. Red side so far has won all 3 games in this series, so Clarity back on red side again, and if they win this one, that's all the marbles.
Yeah, everything to play for here as Aftermath Clarity looking to finish the job that they started. They are already on match point, looking to put this away, only dropping a game so far, and with everything falling into place, what are we expecting? What are the alterations we're expecting from these two squads?
I think for Emrys, if you want to take the line that you were going down, I think you need to swap the Alistar out for something else, because you're just giving Foz a free Silas angle. Unless you want to actually drop one of your jungle bans and ban a Silas. But we saw how much Foz was able to get done on that Silas, and a lot of it is just because he can make himself almost invincible with the Alistar ultimate.
Yeah, that Unbreakable will. Flat damage redux, absolutely woeful. Okay, once again, a little snippet of information as there's just constantly things, gears turning behind the curtain. The sharp-eyed among you will notice Hyperpop Ezreal is going to be slotting into the roster here for Emrys, meaning they will lose one ban as a result due to that late declaration. So maybe he can be the difference maker to haul Emrys all the way to that Immortal Silver Scrapes Game 5.
Well, this is terrible news for my 8 jungle ban prediction.
That's true. It'll be already hamstringing themselves, and yeah, you can see it there. The Ivern, the J4, and the blank ban due to that substitution, combined on the other side with the Kha'Zix, the Viego, and probably Sedge, if I had to make it an estimate here.
Yeah, we'll see if we go back to the Syndra on B1. Seems to be what Last Wish prefers to play, but might mix it up for this game. We'll have to see. It's a Olaf first pick.
That does not resemble a Syndra, in my professional opinion. That is a gauntlet here from Oku thrown down early on.
Definitely. And I guess it could be jungle. But normally you see the Olaf go into the top lane, so we'll see what Tail chooses to answer this with, as he's counter-picking himself with Cassante.
Yeah, you hit the head on. The R1 self-counterpick maneuver here from Tail is, again, bold strokes coming out from both these two top laners, and due to that drop ban, the Sejuani hovered, flashing the Teemo, but I will highly doubt this one is eventually. They will settle and grab up that Bull Rider.
I have, just based on how this draft is going, you would not pick Cassante Sedge into Olaf, and all the picks are in order. So I have a sneaky suspicion we're not seeing the draft in the order it was drafted. I think the players are just locking their champion.
Oh, that might actually explain some things as opposed to that. Okay, yes, that would certainly explain some things as you're walking away down the line.
Because all of these champions are bad into Olaf.
Yes. I understand this is not going to be the order that they were picked, but the order in which they will be played. Oko on his champ, I am king, Last Witch, etc., etc., etc. So, that
okay, I can tell you the order. I have word of what the order was. They went Xayah on B1. They answered with, well, I don't want to spoil what's been picked because some things haven't been locked in yet, but the B1 was actually Xayah. Then Clarity went Sejuani Ashe. Then Braum and Victor were locked in. And then Foz picked Syndra. So there was no Olaf at this point, which makes the Cassante on 4 make a lot more sense. Then the Olaf counterpick comes in, which is really good into all of Clarity's champions. They pick it alongside Maokai Jungle, which somehow escapes all the jungle bans again. And then Milio comes in on R5. Now, once we have all the champions on the screen, because the order's a bit weird, there's two main power discrepancies that I want to talk about in this draft. One is the Olaf. I think this is a crazy Olaf game. He's ignoring so much of what Clarity's draft wants to do. Their ADC is very immobile, as is their support, as is their mid laner. So the Olaf is a crazy pick. He doesn't have an enchanter propping him up, but he's still going to be really, really powerful. The other thing is that the bot lane 2v2 for Emrys is awful. Xayah Braum, the Xayah can't reach the Ashe. The Milio's making that range discrepancy even worse, and then they're playing double range champion into Braum. The lane phase is going to be so difficult down there.
Absolutely. When you are simply there cowering behind your shields and you get pelted with these footballs, when you get pelted with these volleys, these autos, it's going to be a struggle for the big man down there in the bot lane. And yeah, it feels like, as we see the full gamut of champions on our screens, feels like Oko is going to have his words cut out for him, trying to work his way through what is a very, very stiff competition on the other side.
Yeah, this game looks to be a battle of top lane for blue side versus bot lane for red side. The power is on opposite sides of the map, but this series, and just in League of Legends this year in general, even for the past 2 years, we've seen that bot lane is a lot more where it's at. So, like you say, Oku going to have his work cut out from this game.
Absolutely. It's all well and good being up 20 CS, 2-0-0 on the top laner, and then looking bot lane and realizing the game is still in shambles despite your best efforts. For those of you top laners among us, you've had that treatment before, and yeah, Alvance Sterling more than happy. If they are at the same strength as Oku, they will be causing ruckus in these team fights.
Definitely will. Be interesting to see which of these points of power in the draft comes across most.
Absolutely. So, as we have this champion set, they have the last stand of Emrys versus AEC, trying to push this to a Game 5, or if AEC can close the door and send us to the victory lap already. We will be going to a short break. Don't go anywhere, and we will see you guys right after this. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Game 4 of these two titans clashing on the Rift. Emrys Esports taking on Aftermath Clarity. One of these teams looking to push this all the way home on this red side with a 100% win rate, or Emrys trying to hold on to the best of their ability. Summoner's Rift right and ready. Horo, walk us through this early on here.
Two things I want to talk about. One, early ward dropped from I Am King, but it's swept out by Hatu, and Foz takes it. This means he's going to get level 2 off of the first wave. He doesn't need that first minion of the second wave, which is going to give him a big advantage in mid lane. The other thing is that Olaf is taking Teleport Ghost. A lot of the time, like the Darius we saw in the previous game, they'll take Ghost Flash, and that gives them a lot more pressure in the 1v1 and in team fights when they do group. The Flash removes a bit of that power, that pressure, but it makes it easier with the teleport to expand a lead around the map if he does end up getting one inside of top lane.
Yeah, it is interesting to me to have him grab it in this particular situation, because normally you want at least one to try and keep up. But even though Last Wish is rocking one of his own, it's surprising to me that, like you said, he's not looking for that combat-heavy playstyle that Olaf's... He's almost mitigating that a little bit for his enemy laner.
Yeah, the one thing that makes it pretty decent in this game is that obviously he would have more pressure with the flash, but at least the enemy AD carry, the enemy mid laner, the enemy support, none of them have any dashes. So it's not like he's going to need flash to follow a dash. He can just sit on top of them with his move speed from his ghost and hit them.
True, he's able to just continue racing around at the speed of sound. Got that ghost move speed stacking up. And once that first undertow connects, that's usually all he needs to close the distance and slow and walk them down. But we're going to have to keep our eyes on, if a situation ever arises where an auto would have done it, the flash might be the difference maker in that exchange.
Definitely. Watch out for that. But also we can watch out for if a teleport play happens that allows Oku to translate a lead into other lanes. This is an early gank from both junglers. As a
play flies through, the flash will still bring the Maokai in further deeper. 3 versus 3, duking it out. The Maokai under fire. Sejuani going to be given chase here. The auto will not be able to come through. 2-man root from that pullback as they escort I Am King to safety. And he is lucky to be alive after that one.
I wonder whether both of them were just planning on going for this level 3 gank in bot side, or whether one of them had a suspicion that the other jungler was going to do that, but they both completely ignored their top side, just cleared their 3 bot side camps, solo kill top.
That was about as straightforward as it gets. Oku, no flash, no problem, deletes Tail and picks up the solo bolo in the top lane.
Yeah, I mean, Tail doesn't even try to flash away, he just gets clapped. This Olaf starting to get rolling, and this is the power point of the draft of Emrys, so exactly what you want for blue side.
And even without that flash that we touched on, he's able to just TP his way back to safety. Sejuani going to be in a smite fight versus the Maokai, and the TP will get him back to where he needs to be. Xayah is forced to flash away herself, so all the way across the map, sums have been taxed heavily early in this game.
Definitely have. We'll see that Last Wish... Did I miss Last Wish using his flash? When did that happen?
That's a very good question. I didn't actually catch that one. It must have been happening in a scuffle during the 3v3.
A lot of pressure on Tail in this top lane now. The Olaf having a full pickaxe to just the cloth armor for the Cassante. It's going to be difficult.
Absolutely. Definitely lower in power, but as the gold settles on just the kill in the difference here, where are we looking for the next play to come out, despite the only real remaining flashes being on Foz and Talon? Trying to find the plays might be a little tougher, so are we still looking to the jungle to try and get things started, or do we expect to just see CS on CS on CS for now?
I think for now, Maokai, Iron King on the Maokai is going to be trying to cover his bot lane to get him through this period where they don't have flash. They're in this disadvantageous matchup. His top lane's fine. He's stomping, completely destroying the matchup. But Last Wish has to be really careful at level 6, or maybe he'll be level 7, but when Hatu's level 6, Foz is level 6, he can die.
Could try and find that. Instead, Maokai is up here in the top lane, does have the W to try and find his way in. The Bramble Smash displaces him despite the Unstoppable. The 2 tower shots are going to really eat through Mao's health bar, meaning you can't look for much more in a comfortable way. He instead does kick it off with the W, but exactly what we were fearing, dies to the structure, and Cassante finds the 2v1 outplay.
I don't know what the plan was with that dive. They had the 1 HP Maokai tank. Maybe he thought he could reset aggro with his W, but he started with the W, so I'm not entirely sure what his plan was, but just dies for free.
Yeah, definitely an error there. Maybe the pressure of these finals starting to get to him. As, yeah, normally Maokai kicks it off with the CC and then drops aggro with the W. The ordering was not correct on that one, so it's as simple as Cassante getting 1 smack of the Q on him and getting the kill credit for all of his tower's hard work. This matchup doesn't get any easier individually, but that will certainly soften the gold lead.
Definitely doesn't. The one thing with Olaf not having flash, one thing that Tail can look to do is if Olaf tries to all in him with the ult, he can ult him through a wall. Olaf won't go through the wall because he's ulted, but Cassante still will, and then Olaf can't flash the wall to follow him because he doesn't have it.
That's actually a good call out. I didn't think about that. The fact that unstoppable doesn't mean that Cassante doesn't fly through. It's like the settle,
Yes.
right? Where he just showstoppers nothing in particular and just flies past harmlessly.
One thing that's really nice for Emrys is that while the dive went wrong in topside, if the Milio was a melee support, bot had prior while it happened for clarity, and with a Sejuani plus melee support, Drake melts. But with the range support of Milio, their Drake take isn't as fast. I think if I Am King on the Maokai had shown and died in topside against a melee support on clarity, that Mountain Drake would have been gone. But it's still alive for now.
Yeah, absolutely ripped apart with that passive once it's applied over and over and over. It's normally why it does get paired up with these kind of Aurelias, with these Neelas even, I've seen it, to try and really apply that passive. But even without the synergy, they still set their sights on the Lizard, and with 3k HP, Melio and Sedge will be enough to get it going.
And this is a really good timing to take the Drake. A lot of the time you are not able to get the Drake until Herald spawns, but they are going to get it down before that timer, so they can then try to transition across to the top side and contest this Herald as well. The problem with that is that the top side is where this big scary Viking is, so do they actually want to contest that? Maybe not. Maybe they want to drop a Herald in bot while this Braum is topside and take some plates that way.
Yeah, right now it doesn't feel like you want to move your way towards the Juggernaut who wants you there, as Olaf is just going to try and beat anything that moves to keep that ultimate ticking, resetting it with every one of those autos. So instead, it is going to be Emry's moving up towards the Herald. Maokai going to be setting his sights on that front, as now Braum looking for that join. Connects with a Q, but without that mobility, he's now forced into that unbreakable, stunned up, locked down. The Gravity Whale will buy as much time as he can. Scatter the Weak onto Braum, the Q damage, the ultimate flies through! As now we have the fight in the bot lane. Ashe and Xayah trading auto for auto. Ult's already committed, the lethal tempo stacking up. It is Ashe getting the better of this so far, flashing away from the Feather Pull. Beautiful reactions from Alvance, and he finds the outplay 1 versus 1. 80 carry diff in the bot lane.
Yeah, Maokai and Olaf on the Herald, so they can't help in the mid-fight, and Emrys just step a little bit too far forward. Hyperpop Ezreal goes down to Fozz's ultimate. Meanwhile, a beautiful flash, like you said, from Alvance, dodges the feathers on the pullback, and he manages to get that solo kill. I think he made that harder for himself than he needed to. Ashe, with the tempo stacked, has like 100, 150 more range than the Xayah. He could have tried to auto-space him, but he just fist fought him inside Xayah's range and won anyway.
He just knew he had the button check available to him, flashing away from those feathers. It's the mind games of, is Emperor gonna flash, so maybe try and redirect it all on his own, but it does go the way of the Alvance, and meaning that, once again, Red side's bot lane is looking good as Olaf forces Sedge out of her own jungle, sets his sights on that red buff in a 2 versus 1.
And I think when you look at the scoreboard, this is kind of what you'd expect. You have the Olaf ahead in top lane, you have the Ashe ahead in bot lane. This is what we expected from the draft. You have Dragon, the bot side objective, going over to the team with the winning bot lane. You have Herald, the top side objective, going over to the team with the winning top lane. But the real discrepancy right now is that Fozz has that kill on the Syndra, and that's what's pushing it into Clarity's favour.
It is indeed pushing into the favor alongside what we touched on of equally strength damage from Victor. He will live on 1 HP. The Maokai here throwing out the ultimate onto Syndra. Does she have a scatter? Flash W not giving the travel time, and Foz dies through Flash. Beautiful engaged. Sejuani is able to pick up the flail onto Last Wish, meaning that Maokai is left with no laner. He looks for a W underneath the Glacial Prison. Beautiful slip on that one. Means that he's able to escape. And now Ashe continuing to lay the hurt on Xayah. It is micro moments all the way across the map here.
Crazy games we're getting in this series. And oh, there's a Cassante ult. Nothing going to come of that. But I want to cast your mind back to game 1. I know I wasn't casting it, but if you remember, there was Last Wish on, I think it was the Syndra again, and Foz was playing the Cassiopeia. And he kept living on 1 HP. I think it was. I think Zapdos even said he should buy a lottery ticket, and it just happened again in this game.
See, you call it buy a lottery ticket, he calls it calculations, knowing he's in no threat. He has that math down perfectly, because there's only so many times you can say, OMG, so lucky mid, XD, 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 for maybe you just gotta give him credit that he's actually knows what his limits are.
Maybe that's the case. Extremely good damage calculation, what can you say?
Or maybe he's just lucky over the course of the series. Who knows? Try and give that flip on either side, but Maokai en route. Remember, Cassante no ult, but he has the flash, able to go unstoppable through that bramble. The interaction is the same every time. I'd once again not advise a dive, as I Am King eventually does call this one off.
Yeah, and I Am King showing on top side. This is a good... well, I was going to say this is a good timer to get control over Dragon Vision because it's spawning in 40 seconds, but I mean, if you look at the vision that Clarity have, that entire river is red, so I don't think they need to do anything here.
Don't need any more. Sejuani is here for the counter gank, able to lock down Maokai underneath the structure. Cassante with the footwork shield, trying to live for as long as he can. Both Maokai and Olaf live on slivers, as now Sejuani is the one forced to retreat. Hatun cannot keep his top laner safe despite the counter gank. And with Syndra late to the party, a beautiful stab back from Emrys.
Ooh.
Blade does
Nice
connect
Hatun.
this time. Spoke too soon. Hatun picks up the Viking.
And now we'll see if they can transition this into a dragon, because they want to get that soul
Power
stacking.
shot mid lane. Last wish did not account for the extra damage of the structure, meaning he drops to that Syndra ultimate. Summoners expended off of Sterling 2 as Emrys getting scrappy with it, lose 2 across the map.
And Foz says, let it be known, no one lives on 1 HP against me 5 times in a row.
Really stomping out that one with the authority. Eventually picks up his prize and claims Last Wish's life.
Now, with Clarity playing for this Drake stacking again, they've been very good at dragon control across the course of the series. I think part of that is that for 3 games in a row, they've had the winning bot lane. But this game, they've got the Chemtech Dragon second, which means that guaranteed we're not going to get a Chemtech Soul.
Guaranteed. No, we had the Hex on 1, we had the Chem on the second. What are we hoping for as we're trying to claim this one up? Once again, Sejuani and Melio teaming up against the Lizard, but this one's starting to draw people towards us.
So, normally you don't want this, but I'm going to say the best soul for them would be Cloud Soul. The reason for that is that a double Cloud Drake would mitigate so much of the Olaf slow and the Braum slow, and just allow them to kite the move speed from the Drake as well.
Maokai locked down for such a long time without those Merc Treads. He finds a 3-man Bramble Smash, but the damage pours in. Once again, Xayah can't find the Feather Pull, and Olaf throws a harmless axe into their midst. They get their prize, and I Am King to sweeten the deal.
They do indeed, and it turns out it's going to be the Hextech Soul again. Not the Cloud Soul, which I think would have been best, but Hextech's still a very powerful soul, and we're still fighting.
Not ready to give it up. The items are actually much more comparable than you'd expect. Only the combination gold in the difference, as Ashe has not bought yet. So a level footing here for these two marksmen.
Yeah, and I'm interested to see what Foz can pick up on this base. He got that solo kill. As you can see, he's not spent yet. Victor with the Mythic. No Mythic for Foz, so we'll see what he can pick up. I think he's got a good 1.4k sat in his inventory right now.
He's got tons of gold and has not expended any of it so far, as he's continuing to rack up as much gold as he can. The other one you want to look at is rocking a bounty on Sejuani. That's going to be a tough nut to crack in these fights. And I know Olaf can run through, but the rest of the team isn't quite so fortunate on that front.
Definitely not. She's going to be a bit difficult to get through. I mean, the Liandry's Victor is going to put a lot of damage down onto her, but because... like, the reason she's got the bounty is that she's picked up these kills, so she's accelerated in terms of her itemization, and she's a lot tankier than you'd expect.
Okay, throwing out the ultimate here. 2 versus 2, support and AD versus jungle AD. The Melio ult will remove the CC, flash in onto the Ashe, putting the shots in. Xayah is set up for success. No one gets away with it this time, as now the Olaf is forced to ult defensively, holding the Glacial Prison as long as she can, connects it after it wears out. The Olaf is sent to Valhalla as Oku dies yet again in this one. And across the map, Emrys start to crumble in this.
Interesting that you say the Olaf was sent to Valhalla, because if Emrys lose this game, they'll be joining Valhalla as the losers, and Clarity will win the league. So, yeah, but you can see what Alvance was going for there. He was looking to grab that extra kill onto the Xayah, but with Maokai showing in bot lane, you don't need to try and win. Like, they'd already gotten out. They'd used the melee ult to get rid of the Maokai ult, but he tries to go back in. He tries to win more.
Very nice step away from the first Braum Q. Scatter the weak onto 2, doing the best she can to buy the time for the Causante to join it. She will die to Last Wish here, but the reinforcements have arrived. Victor under fire now in the mid lane. Chaos Storm thrown out. Can they find the flip in? They do indeed. Causante finds that third Q to provide the set up. Melio en route with Sejuani to support their top laner, and it is death by 1,000 paper cuts. Sterling knocks down I Am King 9. Olaf is left in a 1 versus 3, almost gets Melio. The heal will provide the displacement, and 3 men die after the 1-for-1 in the mid lane.
What a huge fight for Clarity. The problem Emrys had there is that Oku didn't have the Ragnarok available. So Olaf is like half the champion that he normally is. He's not ignoring any of the CC. He doesn't have that big steroid. He's just not doing enough in this fight, and I think if they wanted to take that fight, they needed to wait, because it was only about 10 seconds away on cooldown.
Yeah, just a little bit over-eager on the trigger pull, hoping that it would come up in the course of the fight and have it right on time, but now Xayah able to throw the Featherstorm out from the Enchanted Crystal Arrow. Cassante en route, though, going all out, and the damage will be enough. The donation to Alvance, beautifully done. No hope in the 4 versus 1. As True Emperor falls once more. Sejuani looking to keep it going here. The slows, the CC. Braum is going to get locked down, but under his structure he goes. The exit with the W. Now it is Syndra under fire. The W from the Maokai. Fuzz a little bit ambitious on this one as Chaos Storm wipes the wave. And once again, it is a 1-for-1. True Emperor and Fozzy both down.
I think this is a difficult situation for Emrys, though. Foz is going to respawn. He's got his TP to join the Drake play that's happening in 30 seconds. Whereas I Am King, he went top again. This is the 3rd time in a row he's gone top on that Drake spawn. And I understand that he's trying to cross map, but you're giving away Soul Point. Like, there's going to be a really good setup from the side of Clarity now onto this Drake. It's going to be so hard to approach. There's no Maokai ultimate because that was just used. They do have Ragnarok, though.
Absolutely. They have that big steroid that you talked about. And with Drake en route, Maokai trying to use those saplings to fight for vision as best he can. Ashe is meaningfully chunked here, down to half HP and no vamp in her kit so far, meaning she's going to have a tougher time weathering the storm of this engage.
And Foz has actually chosen to go top. He's going to push out this wave, and he's going to use his teleport late. So the longer that Clarity can stall this out, the more of an advantage they've got, because 5 members of Emrys are already at this dragon.
Yep, they do have the TP thrown out. Foz did not get to go back to base. Picked up the wave and TP'd straight to the mid lane. Scatter the weak, finding the backline onto Xayah, as now both marksmen are caught. Cassante going to be flying into this. The Maokai ult to find the disengage. Take your eyes on this Xayah as she free fires into the Gargoyle Stone play. Sejuani is next on the chopping block as the Olaf goes Ragnarok into the backline, but is burst down as a result. The re-engage is the 1 versus 1 as Braum and Cassante do battle up on the top side. Fight on 2 fronts. Victor putting the lasers into Melio, shuts him down. Maokai now chopped up by this Ashe as she marches forwards. The slows, the CC, the permafrost reigns in. 4 men dead for Emrys, losing only Sterling. Puts them on Soul Point and in dominant control of this game.
Yeah, and I'd love to get a replay of that fight if possible, because I want to talk about how these 2 drafts function, because they're both quite similar. Aside from Olaf, pretty much replay of that fight would be great. So here we go. Both of these teams want to move backwards. We missed the first bit where Cassante engages, but you can see that it starts looking bad for Clarity as Cassante goes in, as the fight moves towards Emrys. But then the fight starts to move back towards Clarity. Emrys start to run in. They run in with the Ragnarok. They run in with the Maokai. And that's when it turns for Clarity, and they start actually winning this fight.
Now setting our sights on the Baron, we see the picture-in-picture 3k HP and no one to contest. Beautifully done. Aftermath translating it to objective control. And wearing purple, Baron power play on your screens. Aftermath clarity. Really getting a firm grip on this game. They are absolutely unleashed here. Aftermath Clarity, not ready to give it up yet. Braum looks for the one-man warding mission, but might have a life as a result. Finds the W back to Maokai, losing the ult of his own to try and get his Braum to safety. Wearing purple as the Cassante, and he is no longer scared of the Viking. 2 items completed, starting to really measure up in this 1v1.
Yeah, and I think this Baron that they secured for themselves, it's not going to be like a game-ending Baron or anything. They should just use it to make, as they show in the top right of a lot of pro streams, to get a Baron power play, to generate some gold, and use that gold and that pressure to set up for this Drake Soul that's going to spawn in 3 minutes. Because if they can give themselves bigger wallets, better vision, and all of these things, like turrets down in lanes so that they can push the lanes deeper to make the approach harder for Emrys, it's going to be really easy to secure this Drake Soul, and that's going to be a massive win condition.
Absolutely. Just making sure that you are given your best possible odds that you can find. As here in the bot lane, Cassante is forced to go out early in this one. Olaf and Maokai giving chase. No flash available to this top laner. The smite to have the CC, the slows, the movement, the footwork will step away from that Maokai ultimate as now Victor's under fire across the map. It is Sejuani leading the charge with Ash in hot pursuit. Victor will fall. Xayah is able to find the CC underneath the structure. Featherstorm expended, but Melio gets her AD carry out. Structures will finish the job. Alvance picks up another Alvance moment, and Emrys hold the line here.
I love that we've coined the term Alvance moment. It happens again, and he uses both of his summoner spells. They're both going to be on cooldown for this Hextech Drake win condition, and I feel like as we're getting another fight,
Xayah removed from existence as now Braum is face to face with an angry boar. Keep in mind, even with no Alvance, they still wear purple, and these structures crumble under the might of this red side push.
And that's going to be a top inhib down, which is the best possible inhib for Clarity. Oh no! M-King's dead!
Maokai W, the interaction. He flies forwards into 3. Olaf gives a feeble attempt at peeling. Maokai living for a long time, though. Was it a bait all along? Sejuani locked down by the Braum passive. Concussive blows. It was Big Brain King 9. Providing the setup that his team required. The sapling not going to be able to lock down Syndra. Enchanted Crystal Arrow has already been expended, meaning the bird flies harmlessly overhead. And what looked like an error was actually a bait of everyone, production included.
I think that's one of the coolest teamfight wins I've ever seen. That's the longest range Maokai engage in the history of Maokai engages. We're going to get a replay on that.
Yeah, we need to take
So you've got Clarity trying to get out of the base with the Hex Gate, and Maokai follows with the W into the jungle, manages to live for 10 years somehow through absolutely everything, dodging spells with his W, popping his ult, healing up with the Radiant Virtue. And the fight just turns as Olaf Ragnaroks through the Ash Arrow and sprints chasing down Foz.
This ridiculous range. We all said that it was funny when there was 137 jungle bans time and time again, and yet we got Maokai. Maokai continues to surprise despite how prominent he's been for such a long time.
He does indeed, but the Drake Soul is spawning, and look at the vision control that Clarity have got for themselves, as well as the fact they've got massive pressure in top lane from this inhib, and now Braum is dead.
Is he?
Or not?
Is he? Is he smited like a jungle camp in his own red
But that was Fatu's only smite.
Hyperpop Ezreal might have just provided... Yeah, but there's no way that Maokai can close the distance.
Yeah, he's top lane.
If he was closer, maybe that was a moment, a heroic sacrifice, but with 5k left in the tree, nowhere to be seen. There was a moment, but unfortunately will not end up holding this. Hextech Soul secured for Aftermath Clarity.
Going to be pretty difficult for Emrys to claw their ways back now. They're going to get constant Hextech procs on them from Syndra and Ashe. They've got this pressure in top lane with the inhib. They're losing their bot lane towers now because they can't contest it 5v5. And then once the bot lane goes down, I would imagine they're going to rotate 5 into mid. And if you remember, was it game 2, I think, where they had all 3 inhibs down and then they just went to Baron?
Giovanni, be diving your way forward, immediately thinks better of it as Hattoon is going to be chewed through as best they possible. Glacier Fisher pounds the rift, and now the kite back from the Ash and the Cozy Campfire, that range disparity you talked about. They kite back, they spring forward. Xayah is able to find a Blade Caller on the back of it, but Syndra with the ultimate thrown down, they just don't have the damage. And 2 top dead, but they ace the enemy team.
That's gonna be it. They're gonna win.
Math Clarity are gonna march into the base. They're gonna finish this off. Melio is not even required. Aftermath Clarity pick up this game and are your Division 1 Cobalt League champions. GG's. Amazing performance from these carries.
I never doubted them, even when Alvance was having moments, even when Hattu's jumping in and dying to start a fight that leads to an ace. Never a doubt in my mind. It's Hattu Gap every game.
Hattu Gap. Alvance moment. The only one that you need to know was when the Nexus exploded and he got the dub for the team. Plus 50 gold. And he is lucky to be alive after being the final score.
I wonder whether
Clarity taking down
both of them were just planning on going for this level 3 gank in bot side, or whether one of them had a suspicion that the other jungler was going to do that, but they both completely ignored their top side, just cleared their 3 bot side camps, solo kill top.
Very nicely
that
done.
Was
and
about
I
as straightforward as it gets. Oku, no flash, no problem. Deletes tail and picks up the solo W to try and
what did they place in the like before the playoffs? Were they like fourth seed?
Tower shots are going to really upset Bar. I believe it was. You can't look for much more in a comfortable way. He instead does kick it off with the W, but so once again, we were fearing Clarity dies to the structure and Cassante finds the 2v1 and enemy top laner. It couldn't be more perfect.
Dive. They had the 1 HP Maokai with a tank. Maybe he thought he could reset. Massive respect to the boys at Clarity. They should be proud of themselves for this.
But without that mobility, he's now forced into that unbreakable, stunned up, locked down. The gravity we are going to be having time as he can. Scatter the weak onto Braum. The Q damage. The ultimate flies through. As now we have the fight in the bot lane. Ash and Xayah trading auto for auto. Ult's already committed. The lethal tempo stacking up. It is Ash getting the better of this so far. Flashing away from the feather pull. Beautiful reactions from Alvance.
I think it's difficult.
He touched on of.
Part of me wants to give it to Alvance. I think he had some really good moments, but he also almost lost the game on his own at certain times.
Does she have a scatter flash W, not giving the travel time, and
I think Everyone had really good games. I think it's really close. Like the game 2 from Sterling was amazing. The Vayne game on Alvance was really good. I think this one had to
look for a W underneath the Glacial Prison. Beautiful
it's a tough one.
Slip on that one.
It's a tough one.
One for the audience to decide to retreat. Hattoon, as an American, I am a big fan of democracy, counter game. We'll let the people with Syndra late to the party. Yeah, I absolutely beautiful stab back from Empress. And even Tail does connect this time. Spoke too soon. Hattoon picks up the fight as best he possibly
and now
could.
we'll see if they can transition this into a dragon,
Olaf,
because they want to get that soul stash.
Mid lane, last wish did not account for the extra damage of the strike required. This is a scary aftermath 2 versus 2 support and AD versus jungle AD. Emilio ult will remove the CC, flash in onto the Ash, putting the shots in. Xayah is set up for success. No one getting away with it this time, as now the Olaf is all the way defensively. Holding the Glacial Prison as long as she can, connects it after
I didn't
it
mention
wears
Tail.
out.
That's not because he didn't play well. He had a great series, but it's just impossible to get MVP as a top laner. We saw that because the Shy didn't get it at Worlds in 2018. Team didn't get it in LCK this year, despite being head and shoulders above every other top. It's just not possible. You can't be MVP.
Can they find a flip in? They do indeed. Cassante finds that third Q to provide the set up. Melio en route with Sejuani to support their top laner, and it is death death by 1,000 paper cuts. Sterling knocks down I Am King 9. Olaf is left in a 1 versus 3, almost gets Melio. The heal will provide the swing place and swing game. So they have their moments, but I would agree with you in the grand scheme. Able to throw the Featherstorm out from the Enchanted Crystal Arrow. Cassante en route, though, going all out, and the damage will be enough. It was just the donation to Alvance, beautifully done. No hope in the 4 versus 1. True Emperor falls once more. Sejuani looking to keep it going here. The slows to CC. Braum is going to get locked down, but under his structure he goes. The exit with the W. Now it is the Desire as you free fires into the Gargoyle Stone Place. Sejuani is next on the chopping block. Is the Olaf. So to try and put at least a small curtain between the mayhem and the viewers, we're going to cut to a short break to get everybody lined up. Get all but the victorious squad to have their victory lap. Don't go anywhere, and we will see you guys right after the... Only Sterling puts them on soul point. There's no flash available to this top laner. The smite to have the CC, the slows, the movement, the footwork will step away from that Maokai ultimate as now Victor's under fire across the map. It is Sejuani leading the charge with Ashe in hot pursuit. Victor will fall. Xayah is able to find the CC underneath the structure. Featherstorm expended, but Melio gets her AD carry out. Structures will finish the job. Alvance picks up another Alvance moment. And Emery's hold the line here.
I love that we've coined the term Alvance moment. It happens again, and he uses both of his summoner spells. They're both going to be on cooldown for this Hextech Drake win condition, and I feel like as we get in another fight,
Xayah removed from existence as now Braum is face to face with an angry boar. Keep in mind, even with no Alvance, they still wear purple, and these structures crumble under the might of this red side.
For clarity, oh no! M-King's dead!
Maokai W, the interaction, he flies forwards into 3. Olaf gives a feeble attempt at peeling. Maokai living for a long time though. Was it a bait all along? Sejuani locked down by the Braum passive. Concussive blows. It was Big Brain King 9 providing the setup that his team required. The sapling not going to be able to lock down. Maokai continues to surprise despite how prominent he's been for such a long time.
He does indeed, but the Drake Soul is spawning, and look at the vision control that Clarity have got for themselves, as well as the fact they've got massive pressure in top lane from this inhib, and now Braum is dead.
Is he?
Or not?
Is he? Is he? Smited like a jungle camp in his own red
But that was Fatu's only smite. Gonna rotate 5 into mid. And if you remember, was it game 2, I think, where they had all 3 inhibs down and then they just went to Baron?
Ronnie diving your way forward, immediately thinks better of it as Hattoon is going to be chewed through as best they possible. Glacier Fisher pounds the rift, and now the kite back from the Ashe and the cozy campfire. That range disparity you talked about. They kite back, they spring forward. Xayah is able to find a blade collar on the back of it, but Syndra with the ultimate thrown down. They just don't have the damage. And 2 top dead, but they enemy team.
That's gonna be it. They're gonna win.
Math Clarity are gonna march into the base. They're gonna finish this off. Melio is not even required. Aftermath Clarity pick up this game and are your
Ladies and gentlemen, a very warm welcome to the victorious Aftermath Clarity, making the miracle run to the peak of the summit, CWL Div 1 champions. Boys, are you with me? How do you feeling?
We are the champions.
Yes.
This is the lowest energy celebration I've ever heard in my life. This is what we got. We get 7 of you in here, and this is the energy you can muster. Come on.
Bro, I played for 4 hours. What do you want from me?
Yeah, true. It will take it out of you. But yeah, Poro, as our translator, as our guiding light through this series, take us a walk down memory lane for these boys as we have some clips, some moments, kind of walking our way through it. How did this all play out?
Well, I think we determined that red side is just the best. But a lot of the series seemed to come from whichever bot lane was winning, just ran away with the game, and top lane left on an island being kind of irrelevant. That's the way it goes sometimes.
It is what it is.
With that victorious bot lane, we have coined, and for all history, an Alvance moment. What do we think? Alvance, now that we have you in the flesh, is this something that you're going to integrate into the branding? Will we be seeing the Alvance moment start to see the goods and the bads? Or is this, we got the dub, it doesn't matter how we got there type situation?
Subcap.
Subcap? Sub, can you confirm that one, Sterling? You able to, can you confirm or deny the allegations of Subcap?
I cannot confirm or deny. It's a holonym, but it's in the end bot lane. It's a dual lane, so it's like much credit to him as to me. So
Exactly. No, I'm just kidding.
That's what we love to see, the boys.
No, for sure.
Alvance and Sterling.
I had my Alvance moments as I usually do, but yeah.
Sterling there to bail you out with the Thresh Lantern a couple of times. I know that was whisking you to safety multiple times.
Yeah, it's usually how we play. I wish there were a couple of times where I was expecting him to throw the lantern and kind of died because he didn't have it or whatnot. So yeah, we kind of we had some throw moments, we had some Alvance moments, we had some fun. Most importantly,
4 games in, more than happy. Poro, what do you got any questions for the boys, or are we ready to start farming some clips?
Not directed to anyone in particular, so whoever wants to answer, just answer, and if it is, I'll say who it's directed to. But I was wondering, because I think you had the better draft in 3 out of 4 of the games, and the other one was like really close. I don't think there was a clear winner. So I was wondering whether, did you have a plan coming into this series as to what you wanted to draft, or were you just reacting to what Emrys did?
I think they overdid it.
Yeah. I did the drafting, but like the drafting we did like kinda together, and we did not have like particular one plan what to do. We just know what champions we play, what is our playstyle, what we can play, and we just drafted like similar drafts in every game for our comfortable champions.
Cool. Yeah, like I said earlier, red side won every game this series. Do you think that comes mainly from draft, or do you think it's just do you think it's that you get more counter picks on red side and it leads to having better matchups, or do you think
I think that Xayah is cursed, that's for sure. Every Xayah game is fiesta, and every Xayah game is lost in this series.
Yeah, I think part of that is the weakness of Xayah. Like, if she's outranged, she can't really do anything, and every Xayah was picked into something with much longer range than her. There was Ashe, Jinx, Twitch.
To be honest, like, I think with the red side, it was favorable for us because they were kind of not picking blue side smart in a smart way. Because as soon as we picked 2 champions, they always went for Alistar like very early in the rotation, and they never banned for the Silas, which he's very good on and like known for. So, which is very strange. I feel like early pick Alistar and leave Silas open, and they did that twice, which is a big part of the draft cap, I'd say. But yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
So that we could abuse on the red side, I feel like.
Cool. Either Foz or Hatu. I think in this series, I saw the 2 of you linked up and making plays together more than the rest of the season combined. So what changed there to make that happen?
What do you mean? There was even one play where I said like, Foz, can we go in? Quiet.
Wanna fight
and Foss went in and I left. So much synergy.
That's
I mean, classic.
No, but jokes aside, I think we together as a duo played much better than usual, and I agree on that. But it's mainly because we also took some time outside of the scrims or team play and play duo queue, and just learned how to play around each other better, and the results shown actually. So I'm kind of happy about that.
Awesome. All right, Sterling, Thresh.
Yeah.
The champion won every game it was played. Do you think it's OP, or do you think both of you are just comfortable on it?
Well, I mean, it's my main champion, and yeah, Felix show is very good at it too. It was just, I don't think he's OP. I think it was just like it fit well within the draft, and in the end, I guess the experience on the champion for both support players showed, and I guess they ended me Thresh twice, and I managed to make it work.
All right, nice. Finally, talk to me about Emrys. How did they compare to the other teams that you had to beat, and what do you think their strengths and weaknesses were?
All right, I think I'm gonna start with weaknesses. Okay, the weaknesses was like in these drafts, I think in my opinion they overdid it. They're trying to deny a lot of our picks instead of trying to play for what they are like with what they're good with. Last time we played them, or at the time we see them play others, they actually play through their strength rather than denying picks or taking picks away and then just filling in voids with other champions, right? Like for example, be the B1 Syndra. I do not understand it because I don't think that champion is that great apart from just being my comfort. That's it. Like if you're picking a champion just because of that, I think you're crippling yourself a bit. And as for the strength, I think their macro is pretty solid and pretty good. And I enjoyed watching some of their games outside of ours. So yeah.
Nice. Okay. Sandbag, do you have anything else you want to say before I think we should probably move into MVP, right? The votes are in.
I mean, the only thing as we were talking about these drafts is what happened with the jungle handshake. I'm very curious to what plays out behind the scenes that deteriorates your draft to we're banning 3 jungles, they're banning 3 jungles, we're banning 2 jungles. What you said there was a gentleman's agreement? What on earth happened that bit started?
I think it's just Jungle Kingdom in League of Legends lately.
And that's their best player.
Yeah.
I think we kind of concluded that their best player is a jungler, so we just banned him out.
So
we weren't too very worried about other picks.
So you're just kneecapping what you judged to be their strength with what felt like every single ban you could possibly slap him with and knock him down, and yet you guys still ended up with like Graves versus Maokai, which were some of the more reasonable picks. So is it just jungle pool is that deep, or what was the conclusion with that?
I mean, you have to pick something in the end, right? We banned out his comforts. Like, is it optimal bans? Probably not. Like, you're usually not gonna ban Kha'Zix over Maokai, but if this guy has a very good win rate on Kha'Zix, I'd rather not play against Kha'Zix, you know? So
yeah.
That's
if he's
the logic.
70% win rate in solo queue and playing it in comp, you're just gonna try and keep that away from him. But the last thing is we were talking about the individual, what was at stake here. 75 whole euros here in this division. What kind of spending sprees are we going on here with this prize pool that you have so desperately climbed for?
You put it that. I don't know what to say.
I'm gonna buy a t-shirt for Hatu that says Hatu Gap.
Oh my god.
Hatugap, he's not kicked from the team then after his performance?
Not yet.
Well, he almost played in the Grandmaster team, so you know you have to respect him.
And finally, last thing, despite not kicking him, he did not play Teemos in the finals as we were promised, despite hovering it and playing with our hearts. Was there a world in which we got it, or were you just full of hot air?
No, there was not 5th game, so...
Oh, it was a Silver Scrape special, was it?
yeah, 5th game special, but
That's why we
didn't
never
get
have
there.
games.
Yeah.
You just
Sad.
need to win the series before you get to 5, where the Teemo has to come out, because now you can
Yeah,
say,
pretty
well,
much.
we were gonna play a game 5, so 4 was really the finals, huh?
True.
Absolutely. Poro, give us the thoughts on the moving forwards into this. With the conclusion of this division and this season, what are the expectations for this squad? Do you have that follow-up question you have teed up?
Well, I have no idea what the expectations of the squad are. I don't know if they're planning to play in Season 7 or not. But, you know, if anyone needs a top laner, I'll win Season 7. That's... No, but are you guys planning on playing Season 7 or?
We have to discuss that.
Aye.
Your league is
Let's
too
see.
easy.
We'll tell.
Time will tell. That's
It will be surprise until last minute.
a surprise to everyone, apparently including the squad, considering the absolute resounding crickets that came from that one. So that
don't
is
know.
just no. There was no looking forwards. It was just get to the top of the summit and then chill. There was no looking forwards. It was just one at a time.
Yeah, we just take it one game at a time.
Yeah,
One
we're
series
busy
at a
people.
time. Brilliant. All right. Well,
We don't scream.
that is about gonna do it for us. Thank you very much for joining us. Poro, you able to send this one and wrap us up?
Hatu Gap.
Okay.
Hatu.
Yeah.
What's your favorite animal?
Capybara. There you go.
All
Aren't you guys-
right.
Nothing
Weren't you
else
guys
to
about-
say.
Talk about MVP, Hatu, right?
Oh yeah, we have the MVP votes.
You guys are.
Oh,
no.
Hatu, how does it feel to be
Yeehaw.
CWL? What? It says Hatu.
I mean, I voted myself, so it must be that.
I'm looking at the vote. It says Hatu.
It's shambles.
Huh?
No. All my votes are missing. What the fuck?
What?
Okay. Okay, rigged.
Where'd
Scammed.
they go?
Scammed. What is this? I've been bullied like 5 hours like in a row today. Playing these finals every single time I get bullied. Oh no.
The long-suffering jungle wall.
I mean, stop repeating that. I didn't know there was a war. End of the day. That's my excuse.
You didn't know that. See, you said that you've been bullied for 5 hours. I've been actively ignoring Logic's pleas to question you on these clips. Because we've all hit our head on the walls from time to time. We've all had our moments where our AD carry tries to 1v1 mid T2. But is there any particular moment where you guys thought, okay, we've got this locked up? Was there any turning point in this series? I'm gonna gloss over some of the meme clips, like whatever the hell that was, Sterling. I will never forgive you. Are we? Is there a
let's not talk about
particular the calibration flash? Was there a moment where you realized you guys had this? You had this locked up, or was it just a fight to the very end? Was there a turning point out of any way?
Yeah, there was.
For me, honestly,
Before we started.
Before you started, you went in with such confidence.
No, we thought it was gonna 3-0, honestly. Like, no joke. Not to sound too cocky, it's just we were pretty confident, that's all.
Fair enough. It's not cockiness if you can back it up. That's the difference.
I think
right?
you looked clearly better as well. I think in the game 1 where you lost, I think a lot of things went wrong that really shouldn't. I think to some degree there were some unlucky moments. One of the thresh hooks was like really lollipoppy and I don't know. Riot games, but
Well, I
The
think
other-
this
the
hook
other
was
three
only
games-
to scare the enemy, you know.
yeah, that one was
Yeah.
the calibration up. But yeah, I think the other 3 games you had like a commanding lead the whole game.
Yep, very nicely done. So once again, congratulations here to Clarity, able to avenge the Big Brother team, take it all the way to the house, and enjoy your massive prize pool. But that is gonna do it for us here in the division, wrapping things up with a bang. Thank you all very much for joining us. I have been Sandbag. Congratulations to the boys. Poro joining us. As always, Logic behind the scenes. Thank you all for watching, and I'm sure we'll see you guys in the next season. Take care and have a great rest of your days. Bye, guys.
Bye.